Oh, the Hangout is now live. And hey, kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? And we are going to have session three of our Lamentations of the Flame Princess in Prussia with Dark Age of Role-Playing Game with Miss Jason. And we've got Josh, my friend Josh there. And we've got Lee, your humble game master. And I'm just going to try to do a briefer recap than I did last time because last time was far too long. Just kind of make sure we all know what the heck we're doing because I forgot. And then we'll see how long it takes these three fine young men to die. So let's go on real briefly. Session 2 opens up with Heinrich running back the shop and hiding in the cellar. You know, the other two have this head. They're trying to figure out what to do with the head. You know, they run back the shop. Everybody's terrified. What are we going to do? They all, hang out in the shop. They run back the shop. Oh my God, people are going to be after us. A customer shows up. And, Jurgen figures out the smartest thing to do is to show him the head. Well, he kind of notices the head anyway a little bit. And he runs out. Everybody realizes the jig is up. The constables are going to be coming. They frantically grab a bunch of stuff, run out. And it's snowing. It's a blizzard has started. And so I guess the plan was to go to Berlin. So they think about trying to steal some horses. There's way too many people to steal horses from in town. So they skirt outside the town. Sort of outside Potsdam. It starts to go north into the forest because they know Berlin is north. It's not really that far. It's only about 15 miles if you don't take a road. But after one night camping in the woods, freezing to death, with nary any kind of real gear, they decide the best thing they could do is to go home to their mommies. So as our brave travelers, unlike regular Dungeons and Dragons type adventurers, the heck with this. And this is cold. They double back, skirt around town, and they figure, well, maybe we can try to take the road. And they end up actually trying to sneak into Farmer Strauss's place, which you're gonna, yeah, exactly. First take Potsdam, then Berlin. Yeah, one city at a time. So they figure they're going to sneak into the Strauss's barn, but thanks to an unlucky die roll, Jurgen makes a lot of noise. The farmer finds them, but actually, when they decide to give him lots of money, he lets them stay for a night. Now, the doctor does the smartest thing he can think of to do, which is to make a simulacrum of himself out of snow and give it the instructions to, I believe I have this right, go back to town, and then once you're in town, because he did tell him to go to town, then go to the mausoleum, make as much noise as you like. And he sends this naked thing out with nothing but, I guess, one of Heinrich's mother's old furs. So, and that's the last they see of this deranged copy of the good doctor because it looks just like him, and probably thinks
in my head.
Exactly. But at that point, Jurgen decides what we should really do is steal a couple horses. He's had enough of the black magic because throughout the entire session, there's a lot of talk about the black magic that Hans is involved in. A lot of discussion about that. And if you want to know what that's about, go watch the second session because that's really cool. I'm sure there'll be more. So they escape just with their lives because something happens. Maybe one of the farmhands or maybe the actual farmer himself does something, but they end up riding through what looks like a bunch of glowing jelly beans, which seems to do them no harm. Later on, it continues to snow. They continue to freeze to death. They discover all their rations are gone. Jurgen and Hans are missing all their money. And for 3 days, they trudge like probably a couple miles a day, with the horses almost dying, them almost dying. It looks grim for our heroes, people. And they smell smoke. They find a village. They spend several days at this just impossibly nice little village, with these people that show them all kinds of hospitality. This family shows them a tremendous hospitality. And at the end of the day, they're loaded up with food. The doctor manages to sell a pocket watch for 100 silver. They give them clothes. It's great. And the little girl in the family actually gives the doctor, who seemed to like the doctor quite a bit. She liked all of them. Gave him this nice little rock with this nice little carving on it. And things are merry. They actually managed to make it. So they get out of this this village of, let's see if I can remember the name of it. Some merry little village name. I wish I could remember the name of my stuff better. Lebenwald. Lovely village of Lebenwald. And one day going up the road, they managed to get to the town of Entenburg. And they are able to find a place in an inn. Things seem to be going really well. They're able to sell their horses. They're able to meet some women. They're able to have a good time. Except people start dying, around them. And the doctor manages to buy some books, some fun books, and which may or may not be arcane in nature. And then let's see what happens. Finally, the doctor seems to kind of take ill a little bit. The doctor has tried to speak to one of the dead people that died in the hotel, or the inn, as it were, and he sees visions of this little girl who he's actually starting to see like glimpses of as well as they're walking throughout town, which is really odd. And he sees like visions of this little girl, or what looks like this little girl, but some kind of horrific demon stuff superimposed over her. And Jurgen decides they're going to get rid of the rock. Heinrich tries to hide the rock in the top of a tree because he managed to hide the head in the top of a tree before, and he falls 30 feet and lands in about 3 feet of snow, which is the only thing that saves him. Although he's a little bit stunned. But now the doctor is taken quite ill. He's suffering. The friends don't know why, and Jurgen is sure that it's because of one of these books that he bought. This really bizarre, arcane-looking book that's in some script that the doctor has not been able to decipher, with all these horrible illustrations in it. And so Jurgen does the only thing he can think of, which is to like beat a 96-year-old bookseller, with the book, making him tell him, where did you buy this book? And so the bookseller, who I don't believe I actually told you his name, so we're gonna call him Ludwig. He actually identifies the seller as this man Claude in town, whose name may or may not be Claude Jean Van Damme. We're not sure. So when we last left our heroes, the good doctor is kind of resting, perhaps reading. He just doesn't feel great. Not incapacitated, but doesn't feel great. But he's at the inn. In the meantime, we have left Jurgen and Heinrich pretty much with the plans that they're going to leave the bookseller's house and go to Claude's and find out what's going on with their friend. So I think what I'm going to do here is open up. I believe it's the morning of the 19th, more or less, probably about noon on the 19th at this point. I'm gonna open up with the doctor and see what he's up to at the hotel itself, or the inn. I think it's the Happy Hog, Fat Hog, something like that.
Something
nice
like
place. Oh, go ahead, doctor.
Okay. Yeah. So Hans is feeling sorry for himself. I don't know how quite ill he is, but he thinks he's like 100 times worse than that. A combination of alcohol, laudanum, and this strange affliction has him lying down in bed like an opium fiend, just sort of lying there, looking up at the ceiling, occasionally drooling or murmuring to himself, and perhaps there'll be sudden frenzied motions where he will grab one of the books and start looking through it as if he's suddenly got a burst of energy, of inspiration. But then it'll get a bit too much for him. He'll feel too tired. His eyes will feel sore. And he'll just go back to feeling sorry for himself in the bed, trying to draw up enough energy to do something meaningful, like use a chamber pot.
So about this time, as the doctor's sitting there feeling sorry for himself and attempting to read, here's a knock at the door. Herr Doctor?
Bugger off.
Herr Doctor? Is that you? Hello?
And I throw the blankets off and I get out of bed. I make sure I'm at least decent in some degree or another. I move towards the door, just like I've got the worst hangover in the world, and I'll open it to see who's disturbing my slumber.
It's a young man. He's probably in his 20s. You think you've seen him before as one of the inn staff. Herr Doctor, will you be staying again another day?
I think so. Yes, I'm not feeling very good. My humors are out of balance, I think.
Oh, you're not going to die like these other people, are you?
Not like those other people. Whether I die or not, I don't know. But like these other people, no, definitely not. No. You work here, don't you?
I do.
So if I give you money, you can provide things for me, medicinal things, maybe food.
Oh yes, of course. What do you need, Doctor? His eyes get kind of wide. He obviously looks like, this is cool. This is going to be easy. Tip.
Red meat. I need red meat.
Red meat. Okay, I could see what we have. I think we may have some.
And fortified wine.
Fortified? Unfortified?
Fortified.
Which kind? Oh, fortified wine, yes.
And then I realized I don't have any money on me because I spent them all on books. I don't suppose I could run up a tab here, could I?
Tab. How will you pay?
Well, once I'm fit again, I can do all manner of medical things and so on.
Medical
So I'm not
things.
thinking. Yes, I could see fix any ailments, maybe let some blood, shave and a haircut.
Shaving a haircut. Hey, looks at you. Ha! I thought you had money. Look, you need to be out of here by 6 o'clock by the evening if you did have more money. And he walks out and he slams the door. You hear him tramping.
I'll bugger you as well. I sort of make my way back to the bed and look at my meager possessions. Start packing them in the bag as best I can.
Which probably isn't that great. Anyhow, let us segue back to our intrepid Jurgen and Heinrich.
Now, we were told by our bookseller where to find Claude's residence, correct?
You are.
Okay. And it's snowing or just cold?
Oh, it's cold. The snow is kind of ended. I mean, you know.
Okay.
It's,
and this is what time? This is morning, correct? I think we went over, we smacked around the bookseller, got this information. Now it's what, mid-morning, maybe?
yeah, it's about mid-morning. I mean, it's somewhere between mid-morning and like, yeah, you know, it's hard to tell. It's wintertime. You know, it's
okay.
Could be 10, could be 11. You know, it's around there.
Okay. So as we walk along, I'll ask Heinrich, moving toward the house, best we can figure our way through this little village, to this little city of Ittenberg. Heinrich, do you think we're doing the right thing?
I think that I must meet this Claude and ask him what he has against the working girls.
Yes, that. We have that too. Okay.
Oh, and also their doctor, of course.
Yes. As we get close to his residence, can you describe to me, sir, what are the buildings on the opposite ends of his residence, to the right and left of his home? From across the street, I want to spy this place.
Right. Yeah. It appears to be more houses. It's like kind of like a nicer residential area. It's remarkably close to where Herr Winkler's neighborhood was like back in Potsdam. You know, so it's nicer houses. There's really no real businesses on the street itself.
Okay. Are they big homes? Are they affluent individuals?
They appear to be affluent individuals. You know, they're not estates by any means, but
okay,
they're bigger homes.
Okay. And what does Claude's residence look like? Anything special?
Nothing like really special about it. I mean, it appears to like you know have a few servants or something like that. There's definitely several rooms you know in the place. It's a bigger manor. It seems to be like well taken care of. It is the winter, so it's really kind of tough to tell. But there's you know merry looking smoke coming out of the chimney for a cold day like this.
Well, I would like to watch the residents on the left and the right of his, and watch and see if servants come and go, where there might be a servant's entrance. And I'm going to attempt to, if I can, stop one of these neighbors. If I happen to see a neighbor.
Oh yeah, no, you can definitely see if you're standing out there for like about an hour or so. There's a little more hustle and bustle. Some more servants are coming in and out. It seems people seem to be doing stuff in preparation for Christmas itself.
Okay.
They seem like there's some decorating going on, that sort of thing. But you can definitely see to the house to the left. There's a man coming out.
Okay.
Probably once again like in his 20s or something like that.
Okay. I want to let him get a little ways from the residence, and then I want to intersect him and stop him on the street, but not right in front of the home he came out of. Maybe a couple of doors down.
Yeah,
I want to kind of step in front of him, and meanwhile, I'm just gonna kind of wave to Heinrich. Yeah, Heinrich, follow me, and step in front of this 20-something man, older, bearded.
Yeah, no, about 20-something.
Okay,
buttoned up pretty well.
Okay, I want to step in front of him. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I am looking for a a gentleman lives hereabouts, Claude, and he sells books. Can you tell me anything about this this person and where his home is?
Oh, Claude. I mean, he lives right there. Any points right at the house, you would understand it, because I know that he sells books, but he's kind of an odd man.
Ah,
Seems to be nice.
odd. Well, could you tell me some about Claude? Just
I forget what Master calls him. He calls him eccentric, little eccentric.
now, what makes him that way? Do you think? What does he
And it
do
must
that
be
makes
because
him
he's
think
so
that?
must be because he's so smart. He uses all those words I don't understand.
Words you do not understand. Does he have many visitors? Many people working with him?
Oh, there's a fair amount of people coming in. Some servants. I like them all right. Yeah, some visitors, but why?
Good. Just supposed to find him, deliver a message, and I just wanted to make sure there would be somebody there to receive the message.
Oh, his house is right there. You open, knock on the door. One of the servants will let you in. No problem. I imagine.
Thank you, good sir. I will let you get about your business, and I'll step out of his way, let him pass. Turn to Heinrich. Heinrich, I hope we know what we're doing. Let's maybe approach. You think the servants' quarters first, or do you think the front door, Heinrich?
Well, it is not honest to not go in front door, is it, Jürgen?
Yes, but presented as we are, as you might say, I don't believe they'll let us into the house in the condition we are both in. But we might be able to get into the servants' entrance.
I would very much like to find out why this man is the way that he is, and why poor Herr Doctor must suffer, as poor Agatha did.
Yes.
So I will follow your lead, Jürgen.
You do. You remind me of why we are here. Poor Hans and poor Agatha. Poor Agatha, of course. We don't want Hans to be like her. Okay, so I will approach the front stoop and up to the door, and I will bang the knocker if that's what it has.
Oh, it's a rather ornate brass knocker. Little lion's head or whatever on it. Quite nice looking, and you can hear that kind of boom in the house. It's got that nice solid feel, nice solid door, nice solid piece of brass. Heinrich can just kind of he hears that. You listen, you hear that. It's like, oh, that's a good piece of brass right there. That's some quality workmanship. Man, that's a nice house right there. Just finalizing the backup character. So. Yeah, you see it, the chat. The chat is just worth every minute. Yeah, how not to die, exactly. Well, but and just after about a minute, you hear his footsteps coming up, and a man opens the door. He's relatively well dressed. Obviously a servant though.
Okay.
So yes, can I help you?
Yes, we need to speak to your Claude. He is a friend of Ludwig, the bookseller.
Oh yes, he is, of course. And who may I say is calling?
Oh, I am Frederick, and this here is Anton.
Frederick and Anton.
Yes.
Come in.
And we have a book. Anton, could you hand me the book, please, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you. We just wanted to discuss with your master, Claude, something about this book.
Well, certainly. Yes, he is very interested in books. Come in.
Great, thank you.
And he lets you in. There are, obviously a few other servants kind of busting around here. Some younger men. As you walk in the place, there's not people everywhere. But there are a few guys that are bigger. There, the guy that let you in was kind of like 40 something, obviously older gentleman.
Okay.
But more distinguished. But
he appears to have security. Is that what you're saying?
You really can't tell if they're security or if they're the guys running the house. I mean, obviously one guy looks like he's covered with some coal dust and everything.
Okay.
Might be
all servants. They appear to be servants.
Yeah, they appear to be servants.
Okay.
But he brings you into like a kind of a receiving room, like waiting room.
Great.
It's rather nice looking. There's a fire going. It's quite merry actually. There's some bookcases around the room itself. There's some nice ornate rug, really nice woodwork. You know, Heinrich looks around. This is definitely, you know, that's just a quality house right here. There's some quality pieces. You know, real good craftsmanship all over the place. Not sure if Jürgen can tell any of that whatsoever. Or I'm sorry, Anton.
Yeah.
So
I'm Frederick. He's Anton.
yeah. Oh, I know. Fred, I'm not sure if Anton can tell anything, but actually, Goddard, you know, the servant that lets you in, comes back down and says he'll be with you shortly. And he actually brings over some tea, because apparently they've learned something from the more civilized nations. Brought over some tea, and says, "Here, you may have some tea. Won't you just make yourselves comfortable? He'll be down in a few minutes."
Thank you. Now, is he staying in the room or is he evacuating the room?
He's actually left the room.
The servant's left?
The servant's left the room, yeah.
Okay. Is the door closed in this room?
No, it's kind of like, it's like open. There's not really doors. It's kind of like open archways. It's more like a receiving kind of like potluck sort of thing, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll whisper to Anton. Keep your wits about you, Anton. This may get a little dangerous.
I don't have many wits left, but I keep what I have.
Well, just follow me if things if things get crazy.
In the meantime, our good doctor has probably fallen back asleep at this time, you know.
Yeah, I've tried packing some of my things, knowing when I'm not welcome. But yeah, it's hard work. So I'll probably be sat in the chair rather than lying on the bed, like a sort of chair propped up against the wall. Just closing my eyes, resting my eyes for a little bit before I realise that I've actually fallen into sleep.
Yeah. And as you drift off to sleep, you start to dream of being just under snow, like trapped under snow. It's cold, it's freezing. You look up, you can't move. You know you're under like snow or an avalanche or something, and you cannot get out. And you just feel trapped. And you finally, after probably what might only be a couple minutes, but like an agonizing couple minutes, because you almost feel like you can't breathe. You wake up. You come to.
Sort of jump to my feet with almost a yell and dust imaginary snow off me and sort of thrash around trying to like figure out what's going on. Catch my breath. Oh. No, I've been drinking too much. I'm not feeling very well at all. I've got to get out of here. I need fresh air, yes. And I'll start scooping up my things into my satchel, put on my shabby coat, just stagger out of the door. Start making my way to the street.
All right, so you can go downstairs. You certainly don't have to leave the inn yet, but you can go downstairs and run out onto the street if you'd like to.
And as soon as I get to the street, just sort of fall back against the wall and take some deep breaths, just trying to stabilize myself.
And stabilize outside the inn itself?
Yeah.
Stabilizing yourself, you hear some commotion, a little bit of commotion, not major commotion, not like head rolling in the middle of the street commotion. But you hear some voices, you hear some pointing. You see a little boy actually running down the street, rather excited, and then you can hear like the trudge of many feet, and it almost sounds like marching.
Well,
and as
I'll
stay there. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll be curious about this and look to see what this heavy-set feet coming down the street is.
Right, and actually, as you do that, as you kind of look, you see coming around the bend what appears to be several soldiers, and as they come closer, you can tell they're in the Swedish colors, and you see just a parade of men go past you. You're not really sure how many. There might be 20, 30, 40, and then behind them are some men that are obviously peasants. Every once in a while, there's some more uniformed men around them, and so you're not sure are they conscripted, are they prisoners? It's really not evident what they are. And actually, a bunch of them they kind of look around the inn itself, and kind of they shake their head. There's some talk between some of the men, and you're not sure if they deem it unsuitable or uninteresting, and then they trudge by, and you probably estimate about all told maybe 50 or 60 men have trudged by at this point. They all have muskets. Some of them have sabers. Yeah.
Bloody hell, the wall's coming here. I'm just going to take a walk around the block to clear my head. I know this is probably the good meeting point for Heinrich and Jürgen later, but for now I just need to clear my head. And I feel the pressure of the inn staff if they think I'm an unpaying customer. So I'll just start sort of taking a walk around the block, trying to keep myself warm and moving as best I can.
And walking down the block, I mean, you just feel, you're not sure if you feel sick or what you feel, but you feel slower, you feel weaker. You just, your thoughts don't come quite as well. It's just, you're not feeling your best at this exact moment.
I'll probably throw up in an alleyway. Hopefully not
Excellent.
on someone's boots or something.
Excellent. Well, that's a great place to have a segue back.
Over to the heroic things.
over to someone more heroic, as our physician throws up in the alley. Go ahead now. So, as the two of you are waiting in this parlor, drinking some tea.
Yeah, I'm standing and I'm holding this dainty little teacup. Again, I'm about 6 foot or so, and my hands are gnarled and they probably haven't been washed in, not on purpose anyway, in a long time. So dirty fingernails, gnarled fingers, holding this dainty little cup, and I haven't had any of it yet. I just kind of look at it, waiting, and at some point I might smell the cup of tea and set it back down on the tray.
Are there any baked goods or pastries with this tea?
There are some what appear to be some kind of baked goods. You're not really sure. They seem kind of hard, biscuit-like.
Heinrich is admiring the craftsmanship and trying to figure out what it is. He's like giving it little nibbles. And he kind of looks at the tea and he tries to kind of dipping it in a little bit. It is quite good, Frederick. You should try. Good stuff.
It tastes like one of those like kind of more less artfully made and somewhat more tasteless British pastries. You're not really sure.
I finger a couple on the plate and smell them, and then I just slip them into my waistcoat, right? My jacket for later.
Gotcha.
You never know if we're, these cold nights that we're on the march in the wilderness, we might need this.
It's not like what my father made.
Well, what did he make?
He was a great man, great pastry chef. I wanted to be him at one point.
Wanted to? Why did you decide you didn't want to be him?
I don't remember.
You are a mystery. You are a mystery, Heinrich.
We will think about that another time, perhaps. For now, I must keep my wits about me.
Yes.
All right. So at about this time, as you guys are just discussing parenthood or fatherhood, a man comes into the room. He's escorted by God and goes, "Oh, here you go, sir. These are the men that wanted to speak to you. This is Frederick and Anton," and he indicates you both. And the man that comes in is he looks very distinguished. He's probably late 50s, early 60s. Graying at the temples. Gray hair, but like definitely the temples are grayer. Just really just kind of like chiseled, distinguished. Very very well dressed. Grabs himself a cup of tea and says, "Welcome, welcome." So what can I do for you? And he looks over at Heinrich, looks over at the full teacup in front of Jürgen. Is the tea some brandy? Wine?
No, sir. I just have much on my mind. We have a book here, and I present the book that my friend purchased from a bookseller that Ludwig, the little bookseller.
Oh yes, Ludwig.
My friend Heinrich, Hans. Excuse me, my doctor friend Hans. By the way, I am Frederick. This is Anton, my assistant. We have a friend who has taken gravely ill, and we are concerned this book that he purchased, and we understand this book came to Ludwig from you, that the book might have had something to do with it, or if maybe you could cast some light on what might be wrong with our friend.
Well, I'm not a physician, but I can take a look at the book. And so he picks up. He picks up the tome and says, "Oh, yes, yes," and he starts to leaf through it. Oh, yes, I remember this one. I remember this one. He just literally just came to pick this up the other day. He'd been asking me about this one. This one, interesting one. This very enigmatic. Takes a while to figure out exactly what language this is in, and then it hits you all at once. I like this one, but I can't imagine the book doing anything. It's just a book.
So the book, nothing he read could have made him ill in this book.
I don't believe so. What kind of ill? And he kind of leans over. He's just kind of curious, looking curious.
So ill, in fact, he would not get out of bed this morning. And last night we've had 2 people die in their sleep of some grotesque illness in the same inn.
Oh dear. He leans back a little bit, pushes back. Oh dear. So it's like some sort of plague?
We don't want to start those kind of rumors. No, I do not believe a plague. This is dark magics. You know,
Dark magic.
Witchcraft.
Oh, the witchcraft. He picks the book back up. Yes. People could suspect that of books like this, and a lot of people, definitely the British Inquisition, would go bananas about something like this. Not sure why I said bananas, but you know what I mean. Yeah, they would definitely lose their minds over a book like this, but it's harmless. I mean, superstition. But I can't imagine.
May I ask where you got it?
Oh, this one. I think this is from one of my contacts down in Prague. Actually had this book up, and I was or wait a minute. I'm not sure. I might have actually gotten this from Lord Pennington in Britain. He procures a lot of really odd books. One of my good. We trade quite a bit.
Do you use these books? May I call you Claude?
Yes, of course.
Do you use these books?
I've read some books like this, and they are engaging. They're interesting. I like odd books, but I'm more of a collector of enigmatic things. More of a seller, really, kind of a broker. Yeah. It's not something that.
So you don't understand what the book's about, then?
Oh, this book is absolutely it's insane. If you actually read this book, whoever wrote this was out of their mind. It's called the Yuggoth Codex, and the stuff that it actually proposes is true. That there is a sphere far away from our own world, where strange beings that look, these grotesque beings live.
Enough. I've heard enough. Can this book harm my friend?
I don't believe it can harm your friend, but
then we are on the wrong track here.
But you believe it's dark magic?
Yes, I'm afraid. I'm afraid it may have sickened him. Well, I will keep that to myself. We are sorry to have taken your time, especially during this time of the year. I will have my book back, please, and we won't bother you again.
Certainly. I'm curious, though. Have you been in town long? Not too many people buy books like this.
No, we arrived just a couple of days ago.
Where did you come from?
Potsdam.
Oh, Potsdam.
Much craziness in Potsdam.
Why? What's going on there? I have not been down there in some time.
Again, dark magic, creatures, things that are not of this. Well, let's put it this way: Catholics nor Protestants could stop the things that I have seen and the things that are coming from Potsdam.
You don't want to go there. People losing their mind, losing their heads.
Exactly. Anton is exactly right.
Oh, they got the Swedes coming through here every few weeks, conscripting people, and people losing their heads. That does sound a little odd. You didn't travel in that storm, did you?
Unfortunately, yes, we did.
How in the world did you make it through that?
Well, with the help of Zod and good luck, good fortune.
Yeah, a terrible time.
We came across a wonderful little village not far from here. What's the name of that village, Antoine? Do you know? Lauderberg. Beautiful little village, wonderful people. Took good care of us for a few days. Phenomenal. They gave my friend Hans a beautiful little stone with a rune on it. Very kind people.
What did you say the name of this place was?
I want to say Lauderberg. Lauderberg. I'm not certain. Anton, do you not remember?
I'm not so good with it. I spend most time indoors there.
Yes. They were almost too friendly.
I'm trying to think. No, it couldn't be.
Couldn't be what? Have you not heard of this village? Just down the road.
Which way?
That would be southwest from here.
That's impossible.
Between here and Potsdam. Impossible, you say? 4 days they fed us and took care of us, and we walked the village and talked to the people. What do you mean impossible?
There's no village that way.
Now I begin to see it. So you may have helped us after all, Claude. You may have helped us after all.
You can't remember the name of the village.
No, Lauderberg, Landberg, Lannenberg. I'm not certain. But there's no other village between here and there. You have to know it.
There was only one village there. It hasn't been there for 50 years, and that would be Lebenwald.
Yes, that's it. Lebenwald? Yes, that is it.
Familiar.
That may be where we found our trouble. Hans, that may be it. What do you know of stones with runes? What can they do?
I don't know anything. You can read all kinds of things in books like that about stones and runes, but there hasn't been anybody in Lebenwald for 50 years. That village was just about destroyed.
Except for us for the last 4 days, 5 days. Okay. We will we will have to investigate this. Well, thank you, Claude. If I brought you a stone with a rune on it, do you think you have enough information that you could, let's say, tell me something about it?
I'm sure I could look at it.
Then I may well come back if you do not mind.
Of course not.
Worst case scenario, I may sell you the rune.
Yes, but I would not tell anybody else about that village. Superstition runs high around here.
Yes, I think we may have been cursed. Well, I do thank you. I bid you a day, and I just like my book back for Hans, please.
Oh, and he gives you the book back.
Okay, and I hand it to Anton. Excuse me.
Oh yes.
And thank you for your hospitality and having us into your home.
Absolutely. And he looks a lot more serious now than he did before. His servant Goddard bids you adieu.
Okay.
Let you out of the house.
Okay. Heinrich, I think we better go find Hans. That village, there may be more to that village than meets the eye.
Is this a woman or a man?
There are far too many limbs on that picture to really figure out what in the world what goes where, you know.
I have learned a lot about the anatomy of women. It does not look like either one to me.
No.
Far too many. Far too many, you know.
Not natural.
That's right. That's exactly what we're dealing with, Heinrich. This is not natural.
I did not mean to interrupt you, though, friend. What were you saying?
I think we better go back and retrieve Hans. And we may have to go back to the village.
We should save Hans before he too has too many hearts.
Oh, yes.
Only a couple parts. It doesn't look that bad. It can't be that awful.
Thick.
But,
so we will go back to the. I think we should go back to the inn and see if we can find our friend Hans.
Okay.
Poor Agatha.
So
We
as you
will
trudge
avenge her
back,
yet, Heinrich. We will avenge her soon.
you trudge back through the snow, and or the snowy village rather, or town actually that you're in, and you actually pass at one point. You can hear them coming first. You can see the Swedes starting to pass by you.
Passing by us.
Yes, passing by you.
Okay.
And at one point, like you could see what are obviously officers in the front of this column, of probably 50 or 60 men. It's really tough to say how many are there, and you can see guys that are dressed more like officers. And for a second, they kind of give you the like once over look. They really don't, they look at Heinrich. They look at both of you actually, kind of, and then they continue to go.
I would like to kind of go into a limp as I pass. Hopefully imperceptible, as if I have always been lame. I do the Kaiser Sose, except in reverse. I go into the limp, not out of it.
And it's possible. It's possible. In fact, they may have decided not to conscript you at that exact moment. If in fact they are conscripting people based on that.
Jürgen, did you step in someone's chamber pot?
Heinrich, we have got to appear as if we are not capable soldiers. Do you understand that? I
fell out of tree. I feel quite incapable.
Good. So if I go into a limp, it's for good reason. It's good for good reason, my friend.
Go ahead.
According to my mother, all I need to do is speak, and they will know that I am ignorant.
But unfortunately, ignorant might not keep you out of the army, my friend.
I know not about this.
All right. Well, let's just pray to Zod that they do not ask us to fight their wars.
So at this point, I believe the good doctor should roll me a d6 and just tell me the result here.
Sure. 1. That's never good, is it?
Well, what all that really means is that as Jürgen and Heinrich get closer and closer to the vicinity of the inn, they hear a mighty retching from one of the alleyways.
I will look, because I think that's probably familiar sound to me, having camped a few nights with my friend, having seen him drunk. I might even recognize the pitch of such retching.
Well, tell them what they see, Doctor.
So I stagger back out of the alleyway, and I wipe my mouth on the sleeve of my battered coat, and I look disheveled and supremely annoyed at the world around me, and I look pale, and I look like I've got nowhere to go. So maybe if I see you two sort of coming up, I'll approach as fast as I can. There you are. The bloody ingrates. They want me out by 6. I've got not a penny on me anymore. I can't get any food. I'm naught but a beggar now, and I feel sick. And it's been horrible.
We're here, Hans. Listen, I have traced your book to the bookkeeper, or the bookshop, and he has given me the name of the man that sold you this book. And he has told us that the village that we stayed in for the last week or so does not exist, that it has not been there for 50 years.
What are you bloody talking about?
Exactly.
We were there. We had strudel.
I'm afraid we may have come across dark magic. I'm afraid we may have come across a curse. That may be what has poisoned you.
Okay. The images of this little girl and the strange thing that co-inhabits her reality. So I'm going too fast for you, Heinrich.
No, it all just reminds me of something. Never mind her, Doctor. I took a bad fall.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll have a look at that if you like. Maybe not now. I still have
soon, Herr
carrots.
Doctor. You are in much worse shape than I currently.
Well, that's. If we think this malady is not physical of the body, then it must be spiritual.
You do traffic with dark forces, Herr Doctor.
I do, but I'm usually a bit more careful. Creating simulacrums from the snow notwithstanding.
He assures me the book couldn't have made you sick, Claude.
So
He said
we
he received the book from a bookseller in Britain, Lord Pendleton. Does that sound familiar to you?
I'm not really familiar with the British occult savants, such as they are. There's so much to go through here in the Holy Roman Empire and beyond that. Getting to Britain, I'll get there one day.
Yes, I don't think you're going to want to travel that far. I doubt it's worth the trek. Heinrich, we should give the book back to Hans.
Oh, yeah. Strange ladies.
Yes.
And I'm going to split some of my coins with Hans because he has no coins. Right, I have 14 silver pieces, I believe, left from selling of our horses. Is that right? So I want to give 7 of them to Hans, just so he's not broke.
You're a saint. Yeah, again, you're a saint of Zod. That's what you are. Yes. Thank you.
We will get you on the straight path. We will get you sobered up. We will get you clean, and we will get you off this dark magic. Never fear, my friend. You have met 2 men who are going to help take care of you.
But are we going to go back to this village?
I think we should. If we're going to find out what ails you, I think we should.
I have a question. How can we go to village if it does not exist?
Because we were there before. I don't know. That's good question.
All very strange to me. I mostly know Strudel, but I will come.
Well, if not, if it was a chance happening, do you believe that, Hans? Do you believe that was a chance encounter that we fell upon that village?
I'm not sure how we arrived there, but I'm sort of hoping that now we've been there and maybe that talisman thing that I was given that connects us to it in some way. Maybe we can return.
Except that I've thrown it away.
I see.
And now we could go look for it. All 3 of us looking for it might find it.
Where did you throw it?
To the tree west of town where Heinrich fell trying to hide it. And then I threw it. I threw it west of that. I have a general idea. I saw it, how far it went, but we're gonna have to tramp about looking for it.
I'm not a mathematician, but the odds seem quite improbable of us finding that in the snow, and so on.
But if that was our connection to it, then we would travel all that way and achieve nothing.
Well, I feel pretty connected. If this malady is in some way representative of the villages hexing me or some such. I still get images of this child. But
I too have seen her. I too saw her.
Yes.
Maybe we are all afflicted, but Heinrich, you have not.
No. I have heard you talk about it. I think it is very strange. I think all this is very strange. My mother would not approve.
And 2 dead. 4 people dead from last night. Okay, I think we should head back in the direction of the village.
All right. Well, remind me how many days away was the village?
It was a day by horse.
Yes. Well, I'd hate to sort of ride out there and find there's nothing there and just freeze to death. What with it being Christmas and everything.
Which one of them were you going to ride?
Yes, there's that Christian as well.
We sold them.
Are you gonna ride Heinrich or are you gonna ride Jurgen? I'm not sure which one you were actually planning to ride over there, but please go on. Go on.
Never fear. I have secured horses for us before. If I have to, I can secure more. But a better question for you, Doctor, is: do you not know what might ail you? Is this not of your profession?
I'm more of a physician than an apothecary, but I've studied some disease. They are related in some ways. Ivan, is this something mundane that I may have heard of, or is it?
You're not really sure what the
Completely
heck it is. I mean, you feel you feel like kind of malaise, but you don't really feel sick. You just feel like kind of like the life is being sucked out of you. It feels.
Okay.
It feels probably almost more metaphysical than anything else. It's something's,
Okay.
But you could just be delusional. It's hard to tell.
We who dabble in the metaphysical realms often talk about energies, animus, that sort of thing. It feels like my essence is being diminished somehow. That's the only way I could explain it.
Oh, no, you do not need to. I understand witchcraft all too well. Someone has cursed you. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a doll in your image.
The little girl did have a doll, but it was a Swedish doll.
Well, that's even worse.
Well, last I checked, I wasn't a Swedish girl.
No, think
Last
about
I checked.
Fortunately, you are not, but...
Although, saying that,
what's happening to some poor Swedish girl as we speak, I can't believe we left there without saving that Swedish doll. Okay.
There's also the Swedish army tromping back and forth, giving me an awful headache.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're looking to conscript.
Yes.
Luckily, I put on my best performance of being a destitute down and out, and it seemed to have put them off.
Good. Yeah, they don't want to introduce the plague into the unit. It's good. It's a good plan. It's a good plan. Okay. Then where are we off to, gentlemen? Because I think without finding the stone, she gave you that stone.
Yes,
She gave you the stone. Unless you know another profession that might that can identify what's wrong with you. Maybe we should take you to the church.
Oh, well, that'll be straight on the pyre for me then.
You don't think exorcism? We could exorcise this from you?
It's an idea.
There must be a place where we can talk to other witches. There must be dark magic users around here.
We practitioners of the dark arts, as you're so happy to call us, we don't really advertise. Well, I do, but they don't, which, kind of means it's very difficult to find them. Those that do group together in these little covens that hide in the hills and things, bloody difficult to find. But I'm willing to give it a go. And I suppose we could look for this stone.
Well, this time it's starting to be, late afternoon. It is, early to late afternoon. It's gonna be getting dark soon. It's like probably about 3-ish. Around, it is December 19th, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it's getting a little.
Yeah. We're not gonna find anything today, so I figure we go back to the tavern. We have a couple of drinks. We have something to eat, and tomorrow we can search with new light. But the snow's coming down. I'm very, very pessimistic we'll find that stone unless it wants to be found.
Okay.
Well, I, for one, am against exercising Herr Doctor. He is in no condition for exercise right now. But if the rock is evil, then perhaps evil things happen around the rock, and it will make it easier to find.
Yes. Or if we are all removed from it, then our friend here should get healthy.
So you think we just leave?
Oh no, I say we go in the inn, and get Hans some liquids. some
And so red meat, definitely.
let's do that. And then in all of my journeys, Ivan, in all of my journeys as a witch hunter with my mentor Frederick, in our pursuits of finding witches and finding those who are capable of such things, is there a way I can go to the underground and maybe find someone who can practice these arts? I could draw on my skills.
You can try. I mean, you can search around town if you want to. As far as like the underground, you know, generally, you know, as far as I understood, you're kind of more like ferreting these people out.
Yeah, and being brought to villages because they had problems with witches. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like the Ghostbusters of witch hunters.
Right. Yeah, a little bit like that, you know. So I'm not sure who you would try to go to first. You know, other than the Protestants. You know,
Protestants.
They must be involved in some fashion.
Yes, Heinrich, you may be right. Well, let's get some food and liquid in ourselves, and then I want to look around this tavern and see if there's anyone that looks like they might, for a silver piece, share information with me where I might find someone who could help us do this. Is this an upscale establishment, Ivan?
it looks about like Midland. You know, it's not. It seems to be kind of a little egalitarian. There's some not too many lower class people, you would say, because they're not going to be really able to afford it. So I would say,
we're the low class of this dive right now.
You might be the low class of the dive. You know, there's a few other people there that are like that, but you know.
Okay.
You can look around. I mean, give me a die roll. Let me see what comes up.
What do you want me to roll? 6?
Yeah, roll 6. Roll 6.
6.
You get a 6. You know, you're looking around and you're not really seeing anybody you think, you know, that's giving you that like really shyster kind of vibe, unfortunately. You know, and things just seem a little bit merry, even though the moon is a little somber because they've had some deaths in the place. You know, it's with the patronage coming in, you think they're kind of bringing the Christmassy sort of spirit with them. You know, they're sort of decorating a little bit. You know.
Okay. What if? Now these people died last night while we all slept, correct?
That's correct.
So what if we wait together at night and see what comes? If something returns.
That'd be an interesting idea. I've slept the best part of a day, so I probably won't do much good to try and sleep. And also, I think my bed needs to be cleaned. So yes, it's a good idea.
Now you were asleep, right, when you heard the screams?
Yes. Well, was I reading?
I was asleep. Heinrich, were you asleep?
I believe I was reading by candlelight.
I was recovering from the previous day's adventures.
Yeah. Healing 1 hit point. Healing 1 hit point at the middle of the night.
Well, here's what I think we should do. I will sit down here and watch. Somebody should sit up in the hall and watch. And then maybe somebody should be in Agatha's old room and watch. See if something comes.
I can't go there. That is too painful. I will take the hall.
But I'll go to the dead Jenny's room. And
well, you're kind of sick though. You might be vulnerable. What do you think? Maybe you should stay here in the main room.
By the fire with all the wine and things. Yes, this is a good idea.
I cannot win with you, Hans. All right.
No. I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, and I will go up and I will take whoever's. I will ask the proprietor if they will let me have Agatha's room if it is not somebody's not staying there.
Yeah, they are happy to rent anybody's Agatha's room at this point. You know, they're waiting. You get that impression they're waiting for a couple days so nobody will remember and know, or you know. But today's a little bit serious, so they are absolutely, they're sure you can have that.
Okay,
not a problem.
And I would like it for a little discount, please.
And he knocks the silver piece off. He looks at him. Yeah. Oh, you were here last night. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We might even help with finding what happened here. So I want to go set up in the room. I'm going to sit on the bed at the head of the bed with my back against the wall, with my feet on the hay mattress, with my face facing the door, back on the wall, and I'm just going to sit in the dark waiting to see what might come.
All righty. And Heinrich?
Is there like
What
a
do you have to?
stool or a is there like a bench or a stool out there in the hallway that I can sit on?
Yeah, oh, you can sit on something out there.
Yeah, so he's going to take a load off and just sort of twiddle his thumbs and be as alert as he's capable of being. So.
Right. And the good doctor going to be?
I'll be sat by the fire downstairs, boots off, feet on the table, and I'll kind of give a sigh, crack open the book, and go. So, what were these fungal things from Yoggoth I was reading about?
Yeah. So looking through the book, you don't see too much stuff. You can't. There's something about this script because the symbols are all bizarre. It's not Greek script. It's not Cyrillic. It's not Arabic. There's something. They look almost like nonsense symbols. But there's something. It's like at the tip of your tongue. It's like I should be able to crack this. There's something.
Yeah. I know how occultists are notorious for bad handwriting and trying to use different ciphers. So it's part of the course for me of just rolling my eyes and trying to figure out what the heck they were writing about.
Right. It seems to be it's a cipher of some kind. A cipher of some kind. Go and I'll tell you what.
I have 2 pips in languages.
Go roll that again. Go roll that again. Just see if anything's coming to you.
I rolled a 4. Do you see what an effect? Die?
Yeah, roll another die to just see how badly you screw up.
5.
5. Yeah, you're just completely, way off. It's just nothing's coming to you at all. It just keeps on jumbling. It jumbles to the point where you've got to put that book down because you feel like you might vomit. So you pick up one of your other books, and you actually pick up the foul, unspeakable rituals of the British Isles. Starts coming through that one. And exactly, and it's amazing as you're thumbing through this book. You actually come upon an entry of the cult of Zod.
Wait a minute. And I sort of pull the book closer, with intent as it catches my attention, and I'm right. I need to figure out what this nonsense is all about, so I'm going to get involved here. And
you can see there's one illustration. It's a very poorly done illustration. This kind of those medieval kind of illustrations, but this man with it's this like man-like creature, but it's like towering over other human things. So it's kind of like an anthropomorphic sort of thing, but it's got far too many heads. It appears to have several faces or several heads. I mean, you count like 5 or 6. You're not really sure. Several depictions of that. And generally what it has is people in its hands, like squishing them or stepping on people. And there's people like this, like praying. And then like lots of people look like they're dying, fire all over the place, and it doesn't say a lot about it, but it talks about this like curious yet dangerous cult of zealots seemingly bent on the destruction of the world and some kind of twisted purity aesthetic. That somehow, as you read it, like somehow that salvation will be attained by burning everything in the world to create purity, and the only thing when everything is destroyed, Catholic, Protestant, and all of creation, that man and Zod will ascend to a higher level of purity, and just makes no sense. It just goes on and on, and this page after page of complete and nonsense, as if somebody that was even sicker than you in your current condition was writing this.
I'll feverishly. That explains a lot.
Well, so now we'll go to a segue. A segue to Heinrich. Heinrich, roll me a saving throw. Roll me a saving throw versus we'll call it versus poison.
Versus poison. Okay. Apparently I have to beat a 16. And I have rolled a 12.
Okay. So you fall asleep. You know?
Agatha.
And you're not really sure how long you've been asleep. And you start awake a little bit, you know, like as she's like, something's wrong.
Agatha.
And just right over you is this little girl looking at you, like she's been watching you for a while. And it's clearly that little girl, Adeline. And she goes, "I'm lonely, Heinrich."
You travel a long way, little girl.
And as you rub your eyes, rub your eyes.
Christmas strudel?
As you rub the sleep out of your eyes, you look up again. She's gone.
Little girl? No, you should not be unaccompanied by adult, little girl. Where did she go? I must tell Jurgen. I must let Jurgen know. I saw little girl.
Yes.
Jurgen, I don't think you are crazy anymore. I saw little girl.
What is that? I pick up my crossbow and come in, and I'm pointing it at the door.
She was outside. She did not want strudel. I blinked, and she was gone. Little girl from village that is not there, apparently.
I grab my my pack with my shield, and I follow. I walk over to the door toward Heinrich with my crossbow. Where did you see her, Heinrich?
I was sitting there at bench, beautifully watching the hallway.
Like, where did she go?
Yes,
where did she go?
I blinked and she was gone. There were no footsteps. There was no movement.
How did she sneak up on you? You were watching, weren't you?
I blinked and she was there. And I blinked and she was gone.
She snuck up on you while you were sitting there.
You could say that, Jurgen, if you wanted to be mean about it.
So you were asleep. You were asleep. Okay. We should go check on Hans then, because he may well be sick and sleeping as well. So I will head down to the main room with my crossbow, of course, leading the way with my heavy crossbow, looking for Hans.
I am right behind you.
As you enter the room, I'll close the book. I look a little bit wild-eyed and feverish at you.
Zod, what is wrong with you, Hans?
What is wrong with me? No, that's beside the point. No. What was happening?
Heinrich has had a vision of our girl, Adeline. But he was asleep. So I don't know if it was real or a dream. Were you were awake, Heinrich?
Most of the things that I see that are not there have to do with my parents. This was a new one. I am pretty sure that I was awake.
Well, I don't know where we're going to find her if we can't bring her to us.
But she was just like watching you, Heinrich. Did she say anything? Did she do anything? Was there some horrible pan-dimensional being anchored to her?
It was little girl, and she said that she was lonely. I offered to make her strudel, but she disappeared.
Right. I see.
Why would she be lonely? You sure that's what she said, Heinrich?
That is what I remember. She is very lonely.
Why would she be lonely? She was with a family. She was with a whole village of people.
Maybe we should ask some of the people around here what happened to Lieberwald. Villages don't just disappear. There'll be a story about what happened.
Claude had warned me not to talk about that village. There was a lot of superstition around that village, though.
I see. Well,
But
you mentioned going to a church. Maybe there'll be church records.
That's a good idea. Yes. Okay. Someone here must know something. That's a good idea. Now, so who wants to, let's say, go into this this place, this church?
What kind of church are we talking about, Jurgen?
Good point. Who keeps better records, the Catholics or the Protestants?
It might be the Lutherans, kids.
Ooh, they confuse me.
The Lutherans. Do you have a problem with the Lutherans, Heinrich?
They act a little bit like Catholics, so I won't tolerate them.
Don't tell them that.
That's a good idea. So let's to the nearest church of a Lutheran church.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Let's go tomorrow.
Surely they will not turn away pilgrims such as us.
I mean, you're free to go at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure that, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, the good thing about 2 in the morning is there's no one there, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of going at 2 in the morning. We only have to deal with a, a church official. I think we can handle that.
Might be suspicious. I'm sure the doors are open as a church, but it might be deemed unusual activity.
Yes. Oh dear, it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. All right. Okay.
I don't want to go back to sleep because Jurgen may chide me about it. So.
Yes, you had a job to do, Heinrich, but that's okay. That's okay. So you want to wait till morning, Hans?
I'd rather wait until morning. It's rather dark and cold out there.
Then I will return to my my room and wait and see if we get another visitor until morning.
Okay. Well, the night passes rather uneventfully. Jurgen gets a little bit of sleep. That's Heinrich, on the other hand, at some point completely loses it and drops off. And Heinrich, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and roll a d6 to see how much you heal that night.
All right, 3.
All righty.
Do I have the con modifier in there or not?
Yeah.
It's still just 3.
You're an idiot.
All right. I thought I had a +1.
Okay. In the meantime, and the doctor sleeps fitfully throughout the night. You actually have just some more horrific dreams of being trapped under the snow, over and over again. A few times where you have this just terrible dream of this giant, like 30-foot tall, 6-headed, figure just tramping down, with like kind of some kind of beams or rays coming out of all 12 of its eyes, just vaporizing people all around you. While at the same time, ecstatic people all dressed in sackcloth, all just, worship as they're being fried, and disintegrated as well, And you wake up, when you wake up in the morning, you are now at -2 on all your ability scores. You are at this point, you feel like somebody that has a 3 strength. You are just incredibly weak. You're incredible. You just feel like pretty much all 6 ability scores. You just don't feel quite as smart. You just feel sluggish. You're feeling weaker. You can move, you can function, but you just feel like you've been run over by a lorry a couple times.
I will come down to the dining area to find Hans.
Jürgen, I saw it. The thing with the head and the eyes, and it was just, there were these ecstatics, these dervishes just whirling around. It was the apocalypse. It was Armageddon.
No,
like
Hans,
all the
calm.
trumpets.
You are delusional. You are sick. What you saw was Zod. Zod is okay. Zod is good.
I feel addled and I feel weak. I can't even think straight. Hi.
Well, you are very sick. We must figure this out and soon. To the church. We must get to the church and quickly.
Good news, guys. I feel less dead this morning.
Good. So you then can carry Hans.
Oh,
I don't need to be carried.
You do not look well, my friend. That's all right, Zod. You will be joining Zod soon if we can't help you, and that's not so bad. It's not so bad.
It was crushing people in its giant hands, like eggs. Blood was just dripping down. It was.
Never fear. Never fear. It was just a dream, just a vision.
Yeah, yes, just a dream, just a vision. All it was.
So I'm gonna head down the street with my friend Hans close beside, maybe keeping a hand on him so he doesn't topple into the street.
I will
one arm on his elbow, maybe, and looking for the nearest church.
Okay, you actually can find, you can see the steeples. You actually a couple people directions, very easy to find. The local Lutheran church. It's kind of a nice ornate brownstone large edifice. And as you're walking towards that direction, you can see they point the steeples kind of tower over some other buildings. So it's evident for a few blocks, if you will, as you're going through there. As you're pointing going in that direction. At one point though, you walk by a bunch of men in Swedish uniform carrying corpses, and they're corpses. And as you look at the corpses, these are corpses of men in some in Swedish uniform, some in more of these peasant type clothes, and they're just pieces. These men look like they've been hacked apart.
My instinct's to ask questions, but I will not.
And the men look, the men carrying these corpses look positively green, and they're just, they looked a little freaked out as well. And you see them carry, and you're not sure if you count 6 or 8
bodies.
Not really sure how many corpses. Yeah, bodies, just because of the way they're not all complete.
Okay. I'm going to try to sort out the one that looks the least in charge, the one that looks the least, maybe the youngest one in peasant's clothes that looks the least, most shaken. And I'm gonna grab on the shoulder and ask them what had happened.
It just looks it's horrible. They were all killed last night. You could hear the screams. It was like they were screaming like little girls.
They were screaming like little girls. Where?
Like
Where was
little girls? It's at any points it was over in the inn over there, and it's like much bigger. He points it indicates the much bigger inn than the one you're staying at. That these guys obviously kind of barracked, but in the middle of the night, he starts to explain to you that there was some kind of people woke up screaming. There was some kind of commotion, and they went into the rooms of several men. It looked like almost like some of the windows had been busted out, but they're not sure what got in there. There's talk of werewolves. There's talk of vampires. There's talk of Lithuanians. They're not sure what in the world, but something hacked these men apart,
with
brutally.
No evidence of weapons or.
He said, I don't know. It's like I've never even used a sword. I don't even what would. What could cut a man in half like that?
Yes, it's quite a few things. Go take care of your business, and I'm going to make a mental note as to where that inn is, where he pointed the inn. And I'm going to make a note here so I can come back to it if I have to.
I gotcha. And as you continue to walk towards church, so that kind of commotion ends up, but there are definitely a lot of Swedish soldiers, milling about, looking very serious.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get my friend Hans and Heinrich up the stairs and into the church as soon as possible.
Yes.
You're able to do that. There are many candles lit in the church.
Are they having a service? Is it crowded?
At this particular point, no. What would it be? No, what are we at? The 20th here. So it's not Sundays. Sunday's tomorrow. Sunday the 21st is tomorrow. So this is Saturday. So there's no actual service going on at this particular point. There.
So Hans, how are you feeling? Are you feeling well enough to talk to the
Did you hear them talking about werewolves or Lithuanians? It's the same thing again. It's all connected.
Yes.
Oh, the lights, these candle lights are hiding my eyes.
I will sit Hans in a pew. And Heinrich, watch Hans. I'm going to go find the nearest church official, priest, father, padre, whatever.
Yeah,
and
you're able to
go ahead.
you'll find like somebody looks like a priest or vicar, whatever. Yeah.
I will approach him, and I can't make eye contact with him. But excuse me, vicar.
Yeah. Yes. What is it, my son?
We need some church records. We need to know what happened to the village. I cannot remember the name of that village to save my life. Lauderdom? No. What can I not remember? I like Lieberwald. We need to know the fate of a village that was once southwest of here called Lieberwald.
So my son. Keep your voice down. Keep your voice down. What? Why would you want to know about that? We don't talk about such things.
I take him gently by the elbow and I pull him over into the darkness away from prying ears because I have a sick friend. And believe it or not, I spent nearly a week in that village with my 3 friends over the last 5 days. I need to know.
Impossible. He backs up, he crosses himself. He's like, "Are you sure, my son?"
Yes, Vicar, I am sure, and we need to know what happened there.
Hey, come with me. He mentions, motions for you to come in his study.
Heinrich, bring Hans. And I motion for my friends to come too.
Lean on me.
Vicar, as we come in, Vicar, this is Heinrich, and this is Hans. This is my friend who's very sick. He's been cursed, and I think by something that has to do with Lieberwald.
You know what, Heinrich, you are my best friend, I think. You are always there for me.
Fair doctor, you are such a good man.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I would be very cross if they did. Very.
So the father of Valdemar leads you into like a study, kind of. He hushes a couple assistants out. Got little assistant monks or whatever, and so kind of a dark study. He sits down. He pulls out a bunch of books and whatnot, and some manuscripts. And he said, "Lebenwald. Lebenwald's the name of the village.
Mm-hmm.
It was a village. It was before my time. I was a child when this happened. It's almost 50 years ago. That village had dark magic being performed in it.
I knew it.
There was a great evil in that village. And there was a time when Catholics and Protestants together came and put a stop to it. The people in that village were dealt with severely by the Lord in his mercy. And it was...
So what was this? What was this dark magic?
That is really lost to me. I was a child when this happened. I do know that mostly it's not spoken about. It was particularly horrific. It was most heinous and foul, consorting with demons and devils, the worship of strange beings, commitment of unspeakable acts.
Does it say in that history there, that journal, how they stopped it?
They performed some kind of ritual. There were some kind of, well, there's not too many zealots these days, but the men that felt it was their duty to hunt and to stamp out the tools of the devil. Zealots.
Yes.
Men with great fortitude.
I know what they are.
Right. Did they say who these men followed?
All I know in these records is they were men of many faiths. They were Protestants. They were Catholics. There may be men of other faiths.
And what's the ritual? Do you have that there?
That I do not. I believe they perform some kind of exorcism, but there is reference to some more unorthodox practices. But these are not things that we would have written down in our holy texts.
All right. So where might they be written down, or who might know of these rituals? Who could perform an exorcism for us?
Oh, I have a book. I've never actually performed an exorcism. I don't know that I really could. I mean, that requires a lot of faith. That requires a real man of God that's done war with the devil. And
are you suggesting you aren't? Then what is it you do here?
I'm a man of God, but many of these men died taking out this village, taking out this horrible group of witches.
No.
Devil spawn.
No, I wouldn't ask you to do that. But could you perform an exorcism on my friend here who's sick?
I can try.
I think it's worth trying. Hans, how do you feel about that?
Let's just do this. Let's do this.
It cannot hurt. Vicar, I would ask you to do that for us. It might save Hans's life.
My limbs feel like twigs and my eyes are burning.
Yes, I believe I could try. And he calls a couple of assistants there. And he calls for a particular book, and he says, "Yes, I think I could." But when was your last confession, son?
Let's see. What year is it?
Well, well, the point is, son, have you put anything in the basket lately?
How much? How much?
Not since Bremen. Not since Bremen. I'm afraid. A life on the move means that I must find comfort in the divine as and when I can find it, Father.
And he completely just stops looking at Hans whatsoever, and I think perhaps 10 silver we could try. We say.
So I'll take out my 7, and I will motion Hans. 3 silver, please.
Yes. And I kind of fumble around in my pouch. A couple of coins spit out, probably, as my dexterity is.
So I count them up. I count up the 10, and I set them on the corner of his desk.
All righty. So you do that, and let's see how long they do this. So for 8, 12, for 13 hours. these men chant, they take turns. It's kind of like a tag team effort. They read stuff out of a book. They sprinkle the good doctor with probably a quart of holy water. They chant. There's so much incense. Doctor, I'd like you to make a save versus poison. And with a -2. Take a -2 off the die result.
Okay, so I rolled a 4. So but I rolled a 6, but with a -2, a 4.
Okay, well, yeah. So the good doctor, the smell of the incense causes one bout of extreme retching and vomiting. So all of the red meats he may have eaten the night before.
Heinrich, it's working. Heinrich, it's working. Look.
Come Lord. In a riotous, like, riotous, you know what I mean. He spews all over the place. I'm running out of adjectives, and but yeah. So he throws up like a madman, from the incense, and
He's better from this, Heinrich. He must be better from this.
at the end of it, Father Valdemar's, like does this, big gesticulation with this big cross for the 5,000th time, and he pronounced, "He is clean."
Oh, praise God.
Yes. So I go over and I pick up Hans by his robes, his jacket, and I pull him to the tips of his feet. Hans, you are better, my friend. And I wipe some vomit off his chin with my hand and wipe it off on my Hans, you must be better, my friend. And I set him back on his feet.
Do I feel better?
No, you feel like crap.
So I kind of the incense.
It's a mere side effect. You will be better, my friend.
I'm going to be tasting frankincense for the rest of my life.
But you will live. This is what's good. You will live. You've been exercised. Look at this mess. Fantastic. I turn to the vicar. Vicar, what is your denomination here again?
This is a Lutheran church, my son.
Lutheran.
The true faith.
Not too bad. I will remember this. Lutheran church. You have saved my friend. Come, let's go. This deserves a drink.
Wait, I must
And
take
it's-
a moment, gentlemen.
Yes, Heinrich.
I wish to make confession. It has been some
Oh, certainly. And emotion. He looks a little tired, and the men are kind of congratulating each other on their successful, exorcism. First time, high five, and so. Well, certainly, my son. What would you like to tell me? And it's not like a Catholic confession. It brings you to another room.
Father,
What troubles you?
I know that I have sinned.
All men have, my son.
My whole life I tried to be a good Christian boy, but lately there's been darkness in my life.
What sort of darkness, my son?
My parents were taken by evil. I don't remember how. You may have noticed that I am not old.
Yes, my son.
You are a man of great faith and great powers, so perhaps you can see through the fog. I have been traveling with these good men, but I do not feel good about all the things that I have done in the last few weeks, Father.
Well, tell me, son.
I have known women that, well, I am not married to them. I will put it like that. I have trespassed upon properties on which I do not live. I have witnessed dark and evil magic. Is there any hope for my soul, Father? Can you bless me? Can you forgive me? Can the Lord forgive me?
Only God can forgive you, my son, but I can pray with you. And he prays over you.
Father, thank you so much. And
Now
Father,
go and sin no more.
may I ask you a question?
Of course, my son.
This order of holy men, did any of them ever go to Potsdam?
Potsdam.
Let's say 30 years back or so.
I believe so, yes.
What kind of uniform did they wear?
The holy men? Well, like I said, there were some Lutherans.
Were there any tall men with hats with little belts on top?
There may have been. I will have to check. I was not that 30 years ago. I was only 21. There may have been.
Oh, I wish I remembered what I was going to ask. There was a belt on his hat, and he had an axe, I think. I do not know, Father. But I feel that the darkness in my heart began there. I wish that you could help me as you helped my friend.
And he carried an axe. What else did he look like, son?
He was very tall. He had a stern face. He did not look Prussian. He may have been foreign. He spoke to my parents. And then Heinrich just looks confused, like he blanks on it. Then I do not know what happened. I am troubled by this. You can exorcise demons, can you not fix the thing that is causing me to not know? Or can only the Lord do that?
Only the Lord can do that, my son, but the Lord can do amazing things. You have to have faith.
I will try to be strong, Vicar. It's just that I may be going into great evil soon, and I don't know if I will be coming out again. And I just wanted the Lord to know that I am sorry. If I was not strong enough.
And he hands you a cross. It's like a little iron cross, you know. Nothing precious metal or anything like that. And he says, you know, he's kind of bids you to go, and he kind of turns around for a second. He goes, "That man that you mentioned before."
Yes, Father.
Did one of his eyes twitch just a little bit? Because that sounds like could have been Arno Kinsley.
It twitched more than a little bit, if I recall. It was constantly twitching, like a dying animal. Very, very.
Yes, Arno Kinsley. He was never the same, they tell me, after that. After that exorcism they performed. Oh, I don't know. I have not seen him for 30 years. I was a young man when he left.
I did not see him much. I had to go to basement. But I appreciate the gift, Father. It will guide me through the darkness I feel. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my son.
I must go and be with my friend, Herr Doctor, and see if he is recovering.
So, the father goes back to whatever duties he has. It is like, I mean, at this point, you guys have spent about 14 hours there, between the 13-hour exorcism and probably the 1-hour confession. So you've been there for quite some time. The doctor's not looking particularly great.
Hans, are you not better, my friend?
I smell like a perfumed codpiece.
You will be better. You will be better. Have no fear. We need rest, and we need to feed you. And I guess you probably need a shot of your favorite liquor.
I genuinely think that if I drink anything now, I will die and be confronted by that multi-headed monstrosity. I want to see the end of this now. Let's try and find this rune stone. Let's go back to Lieberwald, and let's do what you do, Jurgen. Let's put an end to this evil.
Hunt witches?
Well,
finally.
Supernatural creatures of some degree, but
we'll call them witches.
If it makes it easier.
Yes, sir. Heinrich, and you, are you feeling well?
The Lord is with me. I will go into this dark place with my friends.
Okay, so plan of action. We should look for the rock, or just head for where we think Lebenwald is. To the rock, then we'll search for the rock.
Well, at this point, let's see what time is it going to be. You went there pretty early in the morning, so you know we'll say it's dark. It's only like 10 o'clock. It's only 10 o'clock at night.
But we're not going to find the rock tonight.
No.
we barely find it during the day. So
the question is, do you in fact have enough money to stay at the inn one more night? That is the big question.
Considering we've spent 10 pieces of silver on the exorcism,
yeah. I say we sleep on the pews of the church.
Okay, well,
no,
you can't actually sleep on the pews of the church, but you do find a kind of refuge for the destitute. It's kind of associated with the church, like very nearby. It is, incredibly, poor. You know, they ask if you could spare silver, you know, when you get there to help with everybody else. There seems to be the just kind of the downtrodden of the town. Several people smell of cheap ale, and there's some straw, plenty of fleas, many dogs.
I'm going to go in and find a spot and kick some of these feeble and infirm, pathetic wretches away, and make place for Hans and Heinrich to rest.
Well, what wretched place is this?
It is where we will get rest tonight, Hans. Never fear. You will feel better in the morning. I have faith. I have faith.
I'll slump down against a wall. Just look at these beggars and these vagabonds. I just feel like I'm one of them.
We are
Right.
technically homeless.
Oh, what wretched existence have I found myself in?
I will slide down beside Hans and murmur my little song for him until I pass out.
No. No, I've seen this thing. No, you do not sing about this thing. It's horrible.
Rest now, Hans. And I'll pat him on the head as I basically pass out from exhaustion.
All right. That night actually passes relatively uneventfully. And in the morning, you can like hear like the crowing of some of the cocks, you know, in the surrounding areas. You hear the barking of some dogs. The kind of rays of sun are coming through the cracks in the slats of the roof and what passes for the walls of this place. And it's kind of nice. It's just, you know, it's still cold, but just that little bit of the sun is hitting your face in just the right spot, warming it up. And it's illuminating the place just perfectly so you can see all the bodies of the men and dogs hanging off the ceiling, all suspended by ropes, by their feet.
Dear Lord!
They've all been gutted.
The doctor?
So they eviscerated, so their entrails are actually hanging down, you know, and they're all hanging by their feet with their arms, you know, like this, but of course upside down. Dogs, men.
I just start screaming and flailing until my voice is hoarse.
I grab up my crossbow and get to my feet, scramble around kind of in circles. Zod, what is this? Zod, what have you done? What is happening?
And none of the corpses moving. You don't feel the need to shoot an arrow into every single one of them. as you're spinning around, which one?
looking for some evidence or some creature that may have done this.
What insanity is that?
We are cursed. We are absolutely cursed. That exorcism did nothing for you.
Is the door to this
Yeah, doctor.
ajar, or is it still closed? Does it look like
It is. No, it doesn't look like any kind of forced entry. You can roll me a search roll if you want to. Doctor, all your rolls are at -3 at this point. You're barely able to stand.
-3.
Yeah, you're pretty much functioning. You're functioning with a strength of 1 at this point. You know that because I believe you start out with strength of 6. That's your worst one. Everything else you're kind of functionally a 3, just about, except for if you had a +1 on anything, you're down to like a 4, so a -2. So you're just really
pretty much
not feeling
everything.
great.
Other than my strength, everything's 12, apart from my intelligence, which is 15. So
Okay, yeah. So you're functionally -4 in strength, -3 on everything else, and your intelligence is only like it's only a -1. So you're actually, you know, you're dull normal now. You're in Heinrich territory.
I get to think like normal people.
Heinrich?
But you can still cast spells.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, well, that's a thing to contemplate, isn't it?
Oddly enough, I tell you, the cacophony of the of hearing just a little bit of the voices of the dead is you know, quite loud this morning, including the thoughts of several dogs.
So I'll start clutching my head and like yelling at invisible voices. Like I'm obviously being pushed over the edge at this point through a combination of illness and seeing and hearing things beyond mortal ken. So I'm just kind of really wigging out at the moment.
Heinrich, I suggest we get out of this building before they find us here.
No. No. We need to find out. We need to find out.
Find out what?
I can hear them. What happened?
Then ask them. Ask them what happened.
Oh, God have mercy on me. And I sort of look for, I don't even know what, like a candidate. It's picking through a forest of corpses, trying to find one that I feel I can communicate with the most. So I'll always just close my eyes and just touch one at random rather than have to make a decision. And clutch the head with both hands.
Guide you.
I open my eyes and I look at this upside down head. If I can reach it, I'm not sure how high the ceiling is.
Well, you actually reach pretty well. You realize, though, once you grab this one, it's probably one of the wrong ones because it has a snout.
So it's a dog.
It is a dog.
I'll just sort of move along then. And I'm sure I can speak with undead dogs, but I won't learn much from them.
It's possible with your eyes open, you might have a better chance of getting human, but
Yeah, I will acquire a human, clutching its head with both hands, and I'll look in its dead eyes, and I'll just almost like, because I'm on the brink of insanity, scream, speak to me. What the hell happened here?
And what now seems very familiar to you. The head starts to twitch a little bit, and then finally it's like, what? And you can just, like, the blood is kind of pouring out of its mouth upside down, tripping on the floor.
What happened here?
I don't know. I just came in. I was drunk. And, it hurts. It hurts.
Were you asleep when this happened?
Yes. Something grabbed me. It's upside down. It hurts. It hurts.
I'll let go of the head like in disgust. Be at your
still
rest.
got a question left, so it's just. Just sorry, I wasn't going to hang upside down from the ceiling to give you the good effect, but
No, I'm happy to leave a question out there. Sometimes you don't have 3 questions to ask a corpse, so I don't know. Can I end the effect or sort of just dismiss the spirit, or?
Yeah, you can.
Is it just going to hang around awkwardly? I have something.
Well, let's
Hans,
see.
are you done?
Can you effectively dismiss the spirit? Why don't you give me a save versus magic at -3?
At -3.
Yes.
So, well, I rolled a 9, so that's a 6. So no.
No. So it just, you can tell the eyes are following you as you're walking around.
Fine. What is your name? Or what was your name?
My name was Penrod.
And with this gore dripping from my hands where I grabbed his face, he knew nothing of what happened. Nothing.
Oh, Hans. Well, we must get out of here before authorities find us. we can't be here among the only living people.
I can barely walk.
So I will, with my 17 strength, I will firemen's carry Hans out of this building. Come, Heinrich, let's go.
Yes, I will follow.
And once we get into the street, I'm going to head toward the tree where Heinrich had fallen, where I threw the stone.
Okay, well that's a bit of a walk for you guys.
Carrying Hans over my shoulder.
Yeah. And it is the 21st. People kind of give you this look like maybe he might have been a bit of a drunkard. And it's kind of just some people are twitching, so just shaking their heads. It's 21st. It's Sunday.
At this
so
point, I am so focused. I'm walking right down the middle of the street. At this point, totally blocking out everything around me.
Death
On a
is
mission.
upon us. Death is upon us. I have seen the face of death.
Church bells are ringing. People in their it's almost Christmas finest. There's people selling hot soup. There's wonderful smells. As Heinrich walks down with the cross, just pointing.
Lord.
Yeah, and so people are walking through. They just kind of shake their head. It looks it looks like some vagabonds. They don't really pay very much mind. So you're able to get out of the town pretty easily. Except you're carrying a guy.
Right. Sure.
It hasn't snowed in a while. It's there's been enough traffic on this road now that it's kind of trudged down the snow a little bit, but there was quite a bit of snowfall.
Okay.
You're able to find out. You're pretty sure you're in the same area. You can recognize this plane tree that he had tried to climb up. It was pretty big and pretty distinctive.
Okay. I'm going to set Hans down on the ground under the tree, and I'm going to root around for a rock roughly the same size as that rune stone, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pitch it with as much strength as I can muster, exactly the way I pitched the last one, and then I'm going to follow it where it lands, and then I'll search from there in a radial fashion.
That's a pretty good plan.
That's a pretty good plan. Heinrich is going to hold his cross and ask the Lord to help him find the stone. He has newfound religious conviction.
Let's see how hard is it going to be to give me a bushcraft roll again. I'll give you a +1 on that. I'll give you one better chance.
5.
All right. Well, give me a search roll too. I want to see the search roll.
2.
Okay. And again, give me rolls on both of those, like second rolls on both of those.
The first roll was a 5 and a 6. Second roll was a 2 and a 6.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. You with your bushcraft sense, going out there, you kind of really misjudge the area. You think you've got the right area. That like you think you threw it in the same direction. You think you lined yourself up with that tree just the right way as you did before. You kind of misjudged it, which not too much, but from where you were by the time you're searching kind of in the wrong place. Okay. The cool thing is though, with rolling a successful search, you actually find the rock you just threw. You're amazed. You're like, wow, that's awesome. I swear to God, that's you remember the little groove on it. You're like, man, I got that one. You got really excited for a second till you realize it's the wrong freaking rock.
All right, I perceiving this as maybe a sign from Zod, I stick this rock in my pocket as maybe a token from Zod. And I yell back to Heinrich and Hans, I am not finding the runestone.
What?
I am not finding this. We have to have another plan.
My ass is frozen. I can't stay here.
It is the least of your concerns. And I'm going to start walking back toward my friends. When I get there, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Evil in there.
I'm sorry, Heinrich, evil?
Did you see anything evil in there?
No.
Oh. So much for my idea.
I cannot find the runestone. When I get back to the tree where I've set Hans, I will pick him up and tell him, hang in there, Hans. Heinrich, we're going to have to secure horses, and this may be dangerous because we're not going to be able to buy them. Unless you have money?
I have 3 silver.
3?
I spent quite a bit with Agatha.
Then I think we are going to have to steal horses, Heinrich, and get our friend to Lebenwald.
My poor soul.
No. Imagine what you're doing against this evil. If we find this village, Heinrich, and we save our friend Hans. And your soul will be good. It'll be good with the Lord.
Where shall we find horses, Jurgen? You have led us so far. For better or worse.
I will start walking back through town looking for houses that have stables in the back or garage, grooms. Not looking for a place of business, but an actual residence that might have horses.
Okay, yeah, give me a D6 roll.
6.
That's 6. Okay.
This thing is amazing.
It is. It is. And Heinrich, how about you? How about you? Give me a roll if you're going to help him.
Oh yes. 3.
3. Okay. And what is your mercantile skill?
My mercantile skill is 4.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Roll me a 6. Roll me a 6.
Oh. 1.
Okay. Well, it's not an incredible success, but you do manage to find, as he's like completely lost, looking at all these residences, you actually are able to find a coroner type thing. So you find like the actual horses that like pull the hearse. These horses look probably in less good shape than the horses you got from Farmer Strauss. A little sway back. But you can tell these things are just out there. They've even got the plumes on their hat. There might be a funeral later today. You're not sure.
Yeah, they're kind of just, oh, it would appear that my fate has been good to me. Gentlemen.
They are hitched to a wagon.
And Heinrich motions towards it as they're like looking in the complete wrong direction. He just sort of sweeps his arm towards it.
Okay. As I see it, are there any drivers, groomsmen, anybody around this area?
Not at this time. No, I mean they're obviously probably in the place. And who in the world would steal a funeral?
Jurgen will. And I'm heading directly to it, and I'm going to put Hans in the back of the hearse, and then I'm going to mount this wagon and reach out for Heinrich. We are taking all of it. Let's go. And so I'm going to put Heinrich up into the cab with me, and then I am going to whip these horses as fast as I can out of town, southwest toward Lebenwald.
All right, these horses are obviously very unused to being hit like that, but they do respond because you've got them a little bit jumpy. So the carriage is kind of jumping around, and you know, there's actually kind of like another casket in it. Perhaps they're going to change it, so it's kind of by the doctor, you know. And in the meantime, you can hear a couple guys like come out, hey, come back! Look, they're taking the wagon. But and you know, one of them's running, but the guys are in their 50s. And you know it's cold, and they're dressed, you know, with the long coats and the big top hats, and they're not chasing for that long, and they're just fine. Look at what somebody and they just look completely like just like they can't believe their eyes, like what has just happened.
As I spur the horses or whip the horses, I just raise one hand.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to drive them as fast as I can out of the town, and then I'll slow it down and get them into a nice trot.
Yeah, you do get some quizzical looks as you're going out of town, but nobody really. I mean, they just kind of look like what in the world, and it seems like nobody's really expecting somebody to steal a funeral carriage. So,
and I just, as we pass, I'll yell to the people. It is an emergency. We must get this body in the ground. As I just wave past, and we must get this body in the ground.
So after a while, there are fewer and fewer travelers to the point where you're really not passing anybody any longer. And you're able to get I just have this picture in my head, which is great, but. It takes less time than it did leaving, you know. But it takes you it takes you most of the day, you know, because it's still a little snowy. You are driving a carriage on there, but you get to the point where you see like where you remember this village being, and so that'd be off to your right now. and you can see like a bit off there, and it looks strange. You can see what looks like some old decrepit houses. The odd thing is, it doesn't seem like there's been as much snowfall in that vicinity. Like the houses should have a lot more snow on them than they have on them. It just seems like at some point there's some kind of border, but you can barely see it. You're really looking. The path that was there that would have led you into the village has been overgrown, and there's saplings, there's trees that are not saplings, but they're ones that clearly the 30-year-old 40-year-old variety, not super big, but like as if a lot of brush, bramble.
Okay. As I ride, I'll spur these horses right into the center of where the village would have been, and pull the reins, stop, and stand up and look about the village. And at the top of my lungs, Adeline,
well,
where are you? Where are you people?
I'll tell you what you do see as you go in there. You start to recognize the rest of the village. Like you can recognize certain buildings, but it's clearly that they've been they've been abandoned for years. Some of them, obviously have most of the windows are broken out, the doors are broken out. Some of them have parts of the roofs. It looks like some of them are burned a little bit, but not completely burned down to the ground. There's one or two that had like stone foundations that looks like the rest of the thing there's some of the timbers left, but it looks like some of them were actually burned. As you get closer and closer to the village itself, you see like actual it's clear there's like almost no snow on the ground, maybe a couple inches. Where in the rest of it, there was a couple feet. It's actually really hard for you to get the wagon through there. It's kind of slipping and sliding, and you see as you get to like the actual border of like where the village was started, where the snow really changes. You come upon something you can see it in the ground, like it's got a little bit of snow on it, but not very much, and you realize it's this big iron cross. It's actually like a whole post of iron. And there's like some kind of ornate cross on the top, and it's posted in the ground. And literally, and where that cross is, the snow changes. Next to you, it's a couple feet. After that, it's like merely maybe an inch or two.
Okay.
And you can see like it's almost like a ring, not quite like a circle, but it goes around the perimeter of that where that village was.
Okay.
That you remember relatively well. And you can see as you look left and right, you realize you can see like another cross, like probably about another 30, 50 yards away on either side.
Okay.
Of both left and right. And it appears as you continue to look around, you might be able to see ones past that.
Okay. So I'll ride this wagon right in the middle of this diameter of this thing, right smack in the middle. And then again, I'll stand up, look about, yelling for Adeline. And then I might jump off the wagon and run over to one of these crosses.
So you're riding. You're doing just going straight in, like towards the center of the village.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to drive the wagon right into where it would have been in the center.
Yeah. As you go in, there's not like a big change, but you realize it's just definitely quiet. It's winter and there's a lot of snow on the ground, so it's quiet anyway. It kind of has that winter sound to it, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. You know how quiet snow is. Being from Colorado, you get that idea. It's that unmistakable sound. As you go into the village itself, it's almost more ghostly. It's just kind of eerie. It's not that winter quiet. It's just like an unearthly quiet.
Okay.
As you shout, like there's no echo. You shout her name, and that's like just about the only sound you can hear.
Okay.
Nothing really happens in that. And you can see once again, you actually realize, oh my God, I'm passing Gunther and Hannah Laura's house.
Right.
And that was one of the ones. It's not burned down, but it's obviously taken some pretty heavy structural damage.
Okay.
But you can recognize just the door frame, the pitch of the roof.
Okay.
All that.
So I'll pull the horses to a stop. Hans, how are you feeling back there?
I'll sort of almost like a Hammer horror vampire where they just sort of bolt up. I'll kind of just get up so I'm next to this coffin that's probably bounced and jostled as this journey's gone, and I just look completely out of it. I've been bashed and everything. Well, I sort of look over. Are we there? Did we make it?
Yes, Hans, we're here, and there's strange. It's a strange feeling. Heinrich, do you recognize that? That is Gertrude and Hannah's house. Do you recognize that?
That is where Adeline lived, isn't it?
Yep.
I made strudel there.
It's all ruined. It's all gone. It's a ruin.
Yes, and there's these crosses, and I'll point the crosses out at the perimeters of this area. There is something here.
That is very.
As you point, you point to the crosses, and you make that motion.
Yeah.
That cloak that you're wearing, like it just frays and falls apart.
Okay.
And as you do that, just a kind of that motion, and it falls apart as if it's just ancient. And as the other men look around, they see this happen. You can see like the own cloaks that you had, just kind of just tattering, and like almost disintegrating. They're still on you, but they're just in shreds.
Well, what's happening? Oh.
I'm going to pull out my backpack, and I'm going to try to light a torch. Heinrich, I think we should light these. I think we should light these crosses.
Light the crosses?
Yes, and I'm going to get at least one torch lit. I have 3 torches, I believe, and I'm going to light all 3. Yeah, I have 3 torches.
Yeah, they last for an hour.
And then I'm going to head over and try to light one of these crosses on the perimeter.
They are made of iron.
Oh, they're made of iron. Can't light. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just in case
Okay.
Before. But yeah, examine the crosses. They're probably about maybe like 4 or 5 feet high as far as a pole. The cross itself is maybe like a foot by 8 inches, if that.
Okay.
Kind of ornate. It's rusty.
Okay.
It's obviously been here for some time. It's the one that you.
But it wasn't part of the original village.
It was not.
Okay, so when I approach it and I realize that and I can't set it alight, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to pull it out of the ground and dislodge it and throw it down.
That's fairly easy.
Okay, and then I'm going to make around the whole perimeter, pulling these crosses out of the ground around the whole perimeter fast as I can.
Okay. As you can. I mean, it takes a while to go around the entire village, but there are a dozen of them.
Do these crosses look like they're warding, basically, like surrounding the village in such a way to, ward it, keep something in, or something like that?
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you make me a roll? You got to roll under your intelligence, but remember, right now your intelligence is a 6.
Intelligence is 6, yeah. No chance.
What'd you roll?
It's 15.
Ooh. Oh, you think they're just pretty? Okay. So you're able to do that. It probably takes you the better part of an hour. I mean, you start to recognize like all parts of the village. I mean,
right. I've made the walk around this village before, for sure.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the man's house where that bought the pocket watch.
Okay.
Is still there. You can see the house that you actually worked at to get the cloaks from. Like the guy did work from all day long.
Right.
You saw the house. You saw the house where Hans sold the pocket watch to the wealthier guy. That's actually one of the nicer looking houses there. It's actually brick, so whatever people did to it didn't cause that much damage. The roof's a little messed up, but.
So I'll once I finish, I'm going to walk back toward my colleagues, looking to see if anything's changing or if anything's manifesting or.
Nothing seems to be changing at that point.
Okay.
Are you sure it's a good idea to knock cross down, Jurgen? I know your Zod does not like it, but it seems like someone put it there for a reason, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. When I approach him and I hear this, I drop to my knees, dropping my gear, and I drop my head and begin to weep. Zod, I have no answers for you. Zod. What do I do? What must I do, Zod, to save Hans? And I just sit there on my knees weeping.
You answered by cold silence.
Let's look in the girl's house. If there are any clues as to what's happening to me, it'll be there.
Try if you'd like. I am finished. I am through with this. Something has gotten the better of us. And I am no match for it. If Frederick was here, he would be a match for this. But I am not. I am not.
Jürgen, you have conviction that I've not seen in anybody before. If a wretch like me can get up and go in there, you can.
Try. Yes. Hans, for you I will, my friend. But I'll have you know, we will take care of your body when you die. When you die.
I look to the hast. Fate has a grim sense of humor, I think.
And I'll stand up and I'll throw my crossbow down. I'll take a torch and I'll pull my hand axe out. I will go check the house, and I will head toward the house.
Okay.
I'll slowly follow, like just plodding in the snow.
I'm keeping an eye on the good doctor. I'm trailing him.
Okay.
All right. You recognize these steps as you go up them. You can recognize. You can even recognize the way the second one creaked just a little bit, except it creaks quite a bit more. You kind of recognize that kind of give. Very, very familiar place. And you go in everything. Just the way the rooms are. You remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Except it did look quite like this. The kitchen. You can still see the hearth. That you cooked all that strudel in. You can still see the main living room that you spent an awful lot of time in. The dining area. The table is completely destroyed. There's just tinder of like what the chairs were. It's in the kitchen that you see the first skeleton. You're not sure if it's a man or a woman. Face down. Just skull bashed in. As you go throughout the rest of the house, you find what presumably would be the bodies of all five of them. There's 4 adult-sized skeletons and a smaller child-sized skeleton. Right next to child-sized skeleton is pretty beat up, desiccated, probably insect-ridden, but like that little doll that she used to carry.
And I'll wave my torch over it and point in the general direction. There's the doll.
The doll. I made strudel for the doll.
The doll, and I'll sort of stagger over and fall to my knees and sort of I make my way over to the doll and I'll pick it up as if my salvation lies in it. Sort of pick it up.
Yeah, as you pick it up, it's not as beat up as you thought it was. It's a little dirty. It's definitely gotten wet too many times. Little mildew here and there. Some kind of insects have probably had a little fun with the dress and the hair. But it's beat up, but doesn't look like 50 years beat up. Time has been kind to it.
Am I right in thinking that the skeletons count as corpses? I don't know how fresh a corpse has to be for my spell.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked. They do count. They do count. And let us see what the official rules, because it's a matter of how long they've been dead.
Because I'm about to possibly do the most Lamentations of the Flame Princess thing I can think of, which is talk to the spirit of a dead child.
Right.
So there's your PG-13 rating.
Right. So pretty much, the spell allows 3 questions, but if the death occurred more than a day ago, 1 less question can be asked, and more than a year ago, 1 less. So we're talking, you can pretty much ask them a question.
Ask a question. Okay.
You can ask a question.
So what I will do then is, first of all, I will sit on my knees, kind of throw the doll down, and grab the skull of the child skeleton, and almost in rage, sort of go, come to me, I command you.
All right. In the sockets of the eyes, you can see like little points of light. There's really no discernible color. You're not sure if it's blue or red or ochre or what it is. And I need you to make a save versus magic at -4.
So that is 10 or above for me. I rolled a 20. Yeah. That's pretty good.
You roll a 20. Whoa, that is amazing. That is amazing. So the good news is you do not actually become stunned and fall unconscious as you hear like a scream of rage come out from it, and the eyes like this burning red. And I mean, like you stumble back a little bit, but it doesn't knock you out, and you're just holding the skull in your strength one hands, strength of an infant.
Yeah. Luckily, it's a child's skull, so we're evenly matched at this point.
Yeah, and the bottom jaw like kind of falls off, but it'll still speak to you.
Right. What to ask there? Okay. I will look it in the sockets of its eyes and say, "What evil lurks in this place?"
And the eyes kind of glow a little more. And she says, "None. You've let it all out."
Zod.
And do I still have a question, or I've only got one after?
No, the lights kind of go out of the eyes.
Yeah.
A little fade to the black.
I've only got strength 1, but I will throw this decrepit skull at the wall of this place.
And it smashes. You actually break the skull, shatter it.
And I will, with my axe, cut this doll in two. Basically, fling my axe down, cutting this doll in two. Angry at this point.
It's surprisingly resilient. It takes about 5 or 6 cuts. It's just made with some really good horsehair quality workmanship. And
I'm getting my frustration out, so that's perfect because I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, as you're doing that, Heinrich is like, man, that's some quality workmanship right there, man. One bloke should have got that doll, but man, that was quite a craftsman. That thing was probably worth a good, it could have been worth 2-3 silver. That took days. I mean, maybe a week, couple weeks to make. Man.
Meanwhile,
what if I could make dolls?
I'm taking my frustrations out.
That part of Heinrich's mind still works. So you can just appraise and assess anything, with that incredible mercantile skill. But you do, and it is getting kind of late. It is dark.
Yeah. Well, we can't go back. We can't go back now. We might as well stay here. We might as well camp here.
Can we light a fire in the hearth of this place?
Yes, I will. I will do that, and I'll go about preparing a fire.
Yeah, you can get the broken furniture and everything. There's plenty of dry wood here.
Okay.
To actually light up, and you kind of as you do it, you hear the shrieks of something, and the scampering of something that might have been living in that chimney as it evacuates as fast as it possibly can. The shattering of some enraged animal that you've made homeless. No stranger to being homeless yourself. Right. But able to make a fire.
Hans, what would you like us to do? If you continue to get sick and die, what would you like us to do?
I think I have lived a sinful life. I have questioned God's creation. I have desecrated tombs to further my knowledge. My corpse would rest easier on a pyre.
I want you to know, my friend, we haven't known each other long, but we will do that for you if you do not survive. I'm sorry we have not been able to save your life.
I have spent my life studying and questioning death and what lies beyond. I didn't expect I'd get to find out firsthand so quickly.
Zod. Well, we will still work to find your killer. We will still work to find this.
We can still explore the ruins of this place. Maybe cellars beneath if they have any.
Cellars. Heinrich, did you not go into the cellars here?
Oh, I think I did when making strudel. Was there not a larder or a pantry?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I remember. Yes. It feels like
Okay.
it was only last week. Oh.
Well, yes, yeah, unfortunately.
So, Heinrich, are you going to be going to the pitch black cellar?
I will take torch. Perhaps some of those bunions are still on the floor up here.
Do you still have any torches left? Or are you lighting a chair leg?
That is a good question. I do not personally have any torches.
I left my torches burning out by the wagon when I collapsed. Well, I brought one torch in, but I don't know how long ago that was. It may have burned out by now.
Now, could I take a stick of wood and wrap the tatters of my cloak that fell off?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can make a makeshift torch. That's easy, you know.
Makeshift torch. Got my flint box. Right. Trying to strike a little flame there.
Alrighty. Let's see how lucky I'll get. Okay, cool. So you're able to actually go down into what was the larder.
Mm-hmm.
And most of what's there is just, I mean, it's old, it's desiccated. There's not too much. There are some casks of what looks like liquor of some kind. You also find after a while there's a cask and you open up it's actual like pickles, and it looks like they're still good. Whatever hideous hideous chemicals used to pickle, and of course you're an expert on all that. It's like
would Heinrich know how what the upper limit is on how long pickled goods might last?
Yeah, he would. It looks like these might be okay. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but that's about it. Whether or not the booze is any good is anybody's guess after 50 years.
Well, her doctor is not picky, so
everything. Yeah, you're able to carry these up.
I will take these things.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, are you trying to stretch whatever food you have left over there too, or have you eaten all that by now?
I got some biscuits in my pocket.
Yeah.
And,
so do I from Claude's. Thanks to Claude.
Is that the Claude biscuits?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mine are.
Okay.
Yeah, the trail rations are gone.
Yeah.
Do we have any of that food left that they gave us before we left, or did that all turn to like ancient moldy stuff?
Well, funny you should mention that. It was the few things that you happen to have left is just you have these mummified, desiccated things that like you thought you still had some like kind of hardtack and some little strudels and some biscuits and some other things that they gave you and some salted meat, and it just looks like century-old salted meat.
Well,
not quite as good as.
I still got biscuits from Claude's house. Actually, I got a handful of biscuits from Claude's table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I've got there.
Right. Well, I can tell you the biscuits are delicious, although they taste kind of tasteless like British biscuits. The pickles are a little mushy, and the wine is actually must have been fortified. There's one thing you could find that actually still tastes passable. Pretty good, actually.
I'll lean in. I'll try to get Jurgen in the corner away from the doctor. Should I save the jar and brine?
Yeah. Oh no, but Heinrich, we don't feed any of our food to the man. He's not going to live. So let's not waste our food on Hans. But let him drink. Give him some pickles. He should have something for his last meal.
I believe that is a good idea. They are not to my liking.
It's I care for Hans, but we cannot squander good food on Hans.
You know, Jurgen, it's that dark magic that he traffics.
Yes?
I truly believe that.
Oh, yes, there's no doubt he brought this upon himself, but let's not make him feel bad about it.
Oh, no. He is my friend. Herr Doctor, good news. I have booze for you.
That sounds delightful.
It is green.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It may have turned to vinegar by now.
Drink up. Have some pickles, Hans. enjoy what may be your last days on this godforsaken Prussia, this world.
I'll die as I lived, in misery.
For Prussia and for friends.
As it should be.
Well, screw Prussia to friendship, I suppose.
Hey!
Here. Friendship it
That's
is.
the thing here. The country's pulling itself apart.
It has seen better days.
If we cared for Prussia, we'd be marching with the Swedes by now.
Yes, I agree. We do not care. And in a way, it's probably best, Hans, that you go this way. You don't want to fight on behalf of the Protestants or the Catholics. You don't want to be called into duty.
I'd rather be called into duty than be ravaged by a supernatural ailment that's draining my very essence.
You say that now, but trust me, it'll all be a distant memory soon. But drink up. Don't let this spoil the mood.
Fine.
You will be the first witch I've ever enjoyed company with, and I did not burn before they were dead.
I'm glad I've given you this experience. Maybe it will help your career somewhat. You learn that we are just people in the end, with the same weaknesses.
Yes, well, not quite the same. Some of you have more weaknesses than others, but it has been fun. It has been fun with you. Now, I want you to know we will abide by your last wishes, but I will burn the books with you. All of these books will burn with you.
Well, it'll be an expensive pyre then.
As it should be. We will spare no expense for your burning.
I will pray for you.
Cheers.
As I prayed for my parents.
Yes. Well, I'd rather have more of your prayers, Heinrich, and with no offense to you, Jürgen, but I don't know what sort of thing constitutes an afterlife for Zod, but
it's clean, very clean. It's very clean.
that's because there's nothing left.
Yes, but then we will all be cleansed and better for it. You should know my song by now. Maybe we should sing it all together one last time, like Frederick and I used to do at the campfire. Zod will cleanse the earth of all dark magic. Come now, come. Zod will cleanse the earth of all Catholics. Zod will cleanse the earth of all Protestants.
Zod's great.
Zod will cleanse the earth and everything on it.
Including
You guys, you're no good. No joy in your life. No joy in your life.
This scene of drinking and singing kind of fades as a touching moment with the friends of the dying man as the fire goes out and they finish up the drink and sleep overtakes them all. And the next morning, you wake up, you've slept longer than you thought you were going to sleep. It's bright. You can see like in these broken windows, the sun coming in. Doctor, you feel fantastic. A little hungover, but that's nothing you haven't experienced before. But
I think I'm alive.
I wake. Hans, are you still with us?
I'm
going to start preparing your pyre right now.
No, I'm fine. I can stand. I can think. I can think straight. I can.
Jürgen, he may be one of the walking dead.
Yes, he may be. So why are you so... You're better. You're feeling better.
Yes. Like a great burden has been released from me. Maybe coming here.
Yes, maybe, or maybe these pickles, this wine, Well, that's fantastic. I grab up Hans, give him a big hug, spin him around, set him down.
No, hold him.
Ah, hold him.
Doctor, I am sorry. I must try something. I grab onto his head and see if it comes off.
Ow, 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 ow.
Heinrich, it is our good friend Hans. He's better. We have done it.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I was seeing if your head would come off.
It will. It will if you keep on doing that.
Oh, you are one of them.
Praise Zod. Praise Zod. You know, I think, Hans, last night, when you finally gave Zod his due, he's come to you. He's healed you in the night. It's fantastic. Praise Zod.
I don't know if I feel comfortable praising Zod.
Are you sure it wasn't the wine?
Combination of things, maybe. So what do we do now that we are, Hans is better? We are free men.
Didn't the skull say that evil had escaped into the countryside?
Yes, but that won't bother us.
Well, we can't
go to Berlin.
We can't go back to the village we originally came from because an angry mob was trying to kill us.
Right. So we must go back to...
We cannot go back the way we just came from because we stole a hearse.
Yes. Which I think is a worse crime, if you ask me, because it's a crime we actually did, whereas the other one was just a circumstances being what they are.
Well, are you complaining, Hans? We got you here.
No, I'm alive.
You're
I'm
healthy.
grateful I'm alive, but...
Well, maybe we should destroy the evidence and unhitch the horses, destroy the wagon, and ride off toward Berlin.
I wouldn't feel right if I didn't at least have a look around this village.
Okay.
Whatever ailed me has passed, but it could return, and it could be out there still, and I'd rather be prepared.
Doctor, can you examine the skulls on these people? I'd like to know what your medical opinion is on what killed them.
That's a good idea. Let's see if I can find any wounds or abrasions on the skeletons.
Well, okay. Here's a great time to ask.
I'm going to go and hitch the horses, and I'm going to start to set the wagon on fire while they investigate.
Heinrich, if you were down any more hit points, just go ahead and make a roll to see how much you healed during the night. D6 again, being a specialist.
All right, that's right there. So I'm actually topped out. I was only one from being topped out.
Okay, right on. So cool. The horses are still there. You know, they look a little hungry, and a little pissed off, and a little cold. But they do have the blankets on them. You know, being the hearse horses and everything. They do have the wonderful feathers. But it's easy to light the wagon up.
Okay. I will do that, and I'll take the feathers off these horses, and I'm gonna take them away from the fire, off behind one of these old wrecked buildings, and hobble them, but somewhere where hopefully they can eat grass, or since this area is not as snow-strewn.
Yeah, there's some straw. There's some of the plants that would have grown up during the year, so it's a little hay, but it's not awesome. You know, you could definitely, these horses are going to need to eat something.
Okay.
But the wagon's burning merrily. In the meantime, you know, the doctor, as you examine the skulls, it's really hard to tell how the child died, seeing as it's skulls in multiple pieces. That's very tough. The other ones, you know, it looks like, you know, one had like a blow to the neck, which, like, you know, severed part of its spine. Another one looks like it actually took a blunt trauma to the head. The other ones, it's really hard to tell. Like, examining the bodies a little bit more, like, you'll notice some, like, it's possible they could have taken some wounds to the chest. Some of the ribs are damaged, but then again, it's been a long time.
Okay, but it sort of suggests to me violence rather than like anything else. So
yeah.
Yes, I think our friends in the church fell upon these people and dispatched them rather viciously.
Do you think an axe might have been involved, Herr Doctor?
Axes, swords, bludgeons, all manner of things, depending on the different wounds. This one.
Oh, good chance that one with the bludgeoning wound to the head could have been an axe.
Yeah, these could have been axe blows.
Heinrich just
It
gets
seems to be right about there on the head.
Yeah. Heinrich just when he looks at that like it reminds him of something.
Yes. And it probably wasn't even the blade of the axe, but more the blunt trauma that did the most damage.
I hear it can cause quite a bit of damage.
Oh yeah, straight through the skull into the brain, and seconds, if that, of life. Seconds. Probably didn't even feel a thing.
What kind of a man could just go into someone's house and kill them for being a witch?
At this point, Jurgen walks in, smile on his face. The wagon is burning. The horses are eating what's available. Any luck here?
All we can discern here is that violence befell these people. So these zealots we heard about probably came in force and just massacred the village. I don't know if these people died where they are now or if their bodies were just thrown into the houses. It's probably a bit... They'd probably be only thrown into one house if they were, or even burned. So I think they died here where they stood. I think.
I've never heard of anything like that. No such thing. That's sad. But this is what happens when you get all of these different religious cults together. You don't know what they're going to do.
Maybe the house of the wealthier gentleman might have some information. He might be literate. He might have kept records as to what happened, or at least what was happening in the village if it was unusual. It's a chance, I know. But
Lead the way. Lead the way.
with a spring in my step, I do. I'll go to the house of the wealthier person who bought my pocket watch. I say my pocket watch.
Well, Doctor, you haven't felt this good in 3 days. As you're walking with a spring in your step, maybe even 4 or 5, but certainly not 3.
So yeah,
So
pick up the pace.
Trace your way over that.
I actually feel good.
Yeah, you're able to go past like that whole central area, like where the well was. It looks like they might have been like the closest thing to a meeting spot. You know, it's kind of the way to this guy's house, and you finally get to that stone building. Like as I said before, the roof appears to have taken some damage. It almost looks like it kind of got burned a little bit, but the building is mostly stone. Inside, you can see there wasn't as much, of actual burning damage. It looks like just part of the building might have actually been burned, maybe put out. You're not sure, and it's pretty well. I mean, there's once again that you've got a few skeletons in there. It looks like some animals have kind of like strewn the bones around a little bit. Not too much, but the same thing. You see signs of trauma. There's definitely one head that looked like it had an axe run right through the face. As you look to the hearts, you don't see much in the way of like books or records. Once again, you see a lot of it's decorated very much the way, or seems to have been decorated the same way that like Gunther's and Hannelores was decorated, a little bit nicer. As you look around, you do see, like on one shelf, a glint of gold, and as you get closer to it, you realize it's a pocket watch.
Wow. I'll see that, and I'll hesitate at first, but then I'll take it, because that's quite interesting. That's a weird time thing going on there.
It looks like it's been, it's because it's gold. It looks like it'll clean up, but it looks like it's been exposed to the elements. It looks like looks like it's gotten older. Something that's aged 50 years, a little tarnished. But you look at it, it's like that's the same watch. But it looks like it's been here for 50 years.
Interesting. And I'll wrap the chain around it and I'll pop it in my satchel.
Hans. Have you not learned anything? Last night, when you thought you were going to die, you weren't. You were talking about all the bad things you'd done, all the things you'd stolen, all the drink and all the whores. Have you not learned something from your miraculous healing? Are you going to start down the same path?
Well, the thing is with this is it will be of some interest to an alchemist because this thing, it came from now, but it's been here for 50 years. It almost existed outside of time. What does that mean for the metal? What does that mean is there's something fascinating about this.
Yes, have your way. Have your way. I had hoped maybe your deathside confession you would have changed some, but have your watch. You have not learned.
The strangest thing, though, as you have this conversation, presume you're having the conversation, and the doctor puts the watch in his satchel, you hear it clink against something.
I'll investigate that.
You pull out the watch, and there's something else hard in your satchel.
I'll reach in for it.
It feels very familiar. It's about silver dollar size, round, a little flattened. You can feel one side's etched with something.
And I'll take that out a little bit more nervously once I realize what it is. And I drop the watch on the floor.
And it's the rock. Little rock that Adeline had given you about a week ago.
I think maybe I'm better because I have this.
But how did you get it? I kind of step away from Hans. No, there is more wrong here. How can you have that?
I'm not chancing fate. I get the impression if I'm separated from this talisman, that affliction will come upon me again.
I don't like it.
It makes sense. You got 6 shortly after we disposed of it.
Yes. That thing is following us around. It killed those women, it killed those destitutes, and it put it back in my possession. That's the only explanation I can think of.
But you had it in your possession when Agatha died, did you not? You got sick the next morning and we disposed of it. So that means if we carry this with us, this evil will kill everywhere we go.
You're right.
We must find a way of getting rid of it.
But I don't think we should just throw it now. I'll keep it on me for now. And we'll just have to see.
I can't imagine us going back to set towns and villages if this thing is killing while we're among people. We can't have that.
Herr Doctor, do you not know any wise and learned men who could help you with this?
Maybe back in Bremen, but that's some distance away. Unfortunately, the nature of my learning was that I was self-taught to some degree. It's why my education is somewhat incomplete.
How did we get here? Okay. So we are cursed with a stone. Is there something else you wanted to look for in this house, Doctor?
Not this house specifically, but I feel this village has a few more secrets to give up to us.
Then where to next?
Where would this sort of stone come from? If the girl made this talisman, it must be from
the river, maybe? Is it a river?
Is it soapstone, isn't it? That's Maybe.
Heinrich, where do you find soapstone?
Oh, as you turn around, he's like scooped over the watch. He was like trying to pocket it while you guys weren't looking. Oh, I was just stretching, my friends. I'm going to try to slide it in my pocket without being seen.
I'm just going to pretend not to notice, even if I do.
Right, yeah. It's not as shiny as the rings you have, but you know, which probably could have bought several horses, but it is it still looks very nice. It doesn't appear to be any worse for wear from being dropped on the floor by a nervous doctor.
Well, he's just practicing what the good doctor taught him. Oh, soapstone. I am not a gem cutter, as you know. I am a baker. But I knew a gem cutter, I believe. Yes. Does Heinrich know anything about soapstone? That's the question.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's do a little mercantile roll.
Mercantile roll. All right.
Maybe we'll try that. See.
Oh, that is a 6.
That is a 6. So you can roll me another die.
Here we go. That is a 5.
You're pretty sure it's found at the bottom of the sea, and must be gotten by special divers.
My friends, you ever been
In the Baltic Sea.
Heinrich, you're pointless. There's no way that little girl got soapstone from the bottom of the sea. You idiot.
Maybe the well or river then.
The well. The well. Well, there is no river that I can see, so the well.
We could at least have a look.
Heinrich, you know wells. Didn't you have a well at your home in Potsdam?
No, you're mistaken, friend.
I'm pretty sure you mentioned it a few times.
To the well. I'll head out toward the well and approach the edge of the well.
Okay, yeah, it's a fairly decent sized well. It's something that a person could actually get in and out of. It's probably about I'm guessing like 3-4 feet across, somewhere around there. Fairly decent size.
I'm gonna pick up a stone around the edge of the well and drop it in and listen.
It takes a little while to hit. If you finally hear they clunk into some water.
Okay.
They really actually kind of skid almost on ice at this point.
Okay. Well, do we traverse down? Is there a pulley with a bucket like a well, or is it what?
It looks like 50 years ago there sure was.
There was. Okay. So no evidence of an old rope around here or anything? I do not have rope. Do any of you have rope?
Let's see, there is actually an old rope. It looks like it would probably support the weight of a cat.
I was
for 50 years,
I am rock climber. I hunt for bird eggs. I always have my grappling hook and 50 foot of rope.
Then you, sir, Heinrich, you get to, since you know more about wells than either one of us, maybe you should do the honors.
I feel better about this than climbing a tree.
Do you have any illumination? Once you get a certain way down there, the sun won't do much.
No. No, I'm afraid not.
The wagon is still burning, correct?
No, it's been a while. That thing is out. That thing was dry tinder wood. That thing is gone. There's plenty of wood. You can find wood. It's a matter of whether he can actually carry a lit torch down a 3-foot hole and climb successfully.
It may be better not to look at what is at bottom of wells.
Just holler. If you get in trouble, just holler. We'll save you.
Jürgen, you are my friend. You would not mislead me.
I am. We will be here for you.
People have lied to me my whole life.
I would never do that.
Okay, friend. He searches around in his satchel and comes out with this really well-made grappling hook that has not mentioned the entire adventure, but he has had the entire time.
That's fantastic.
He fastens it to the edge of the well and ties a little knot with the rope.
Yeah.
Well, my comrades, down I go.
Yeah, and there is no need to make a roll of any kind. It's with the rope, with the grappling hook, with everything else. You're in your elements.
Okay.
Except the fact that you're going down rather than up.
So how long until I
Down
can
well.
see
So you're able to go down. It's probably only about 20 feet deep. It's not a really deep well. If you know, it might not even be 20 feet. You finally you can see like there's a. You can feel more than see. There's a part where there's a little bit like iced over water, but you realize like if you keep on dropping down, you're going to end up in the middle of some ice cold water. It's still you can still kind of see down here. It's it's just at the bright part of the day where the sun's not directly overhead, because it never is in the wintertime, but it's just shining down enough. The rock is light enough that you can see in there. And the one odd thing out of your whole descent into the well, you can't really see any rocks, can't see where the rock ever went, is that the sides of the well appear to be like have gouges in them. And sometimes rows of like 5 or 6 gouges together, just like in stripes. And it smells absolutely horrific down here. It doesn't smell like a well you would get fresh water in. It doesn't exactly smell like death, but it smells kind of like fear and anger, and that sweat that animals have,
Mother.
that moment of, it almost smells like terror.
The grappling hook starts shaking around wildly up top. No!
Heinrich, is everything okay? Have you found any soapstone?
Not again! Be gone, devil!
Heinrich!
He's sounding distressed. We should pull him out. Well, you should pull him out. I won't do much.
Out.
No!
Okay, I'll start to pull on the rope on my end.
No!
I'll
I can feel
pull
it.
him until I get him to the top.
You're winching this immobile guy, and it's just like but unlike in the movie Jaws, the cage is not empty. When you pull up, you finally pull this man that's just kind of.
I'll grab him physically and pull him out of the well, lay him on the ground, and I'm gonna smack him a few times.
No!
Heinrich, come on! Heinrich!
Come to your
Heinrich.
senses, man.
Come now, Heinrich. What is it? What is it, Heinrich?
You are not man with hat.
No. No, it's me, Jürgen, your friend, and Hans, the good doctor.
Oh,
What did you see? What is wrong?
oh, the smell. The marks. Oh,
The marks, the smell.
I cannot.
All right. It looks like I'm going down. Hans, do you want to watch Heinrich?
Yes.
All right, so I'll grab this rope, secure the hook, and I'll slide down.
Okay, let's see. What is your climb skill?
I don't have a climb skill.
That's okay. That's awesome. So let's see. You've got the rope. You've got the grappling hook. You're 17 strength.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give you. We're gonna say 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
That's a badass old school like ubiquity
It is.
average.
And I've been rolling 6 all night, so 5. 5
Okay,
and
watch
5 and
roll.
4.
5 and 4. Okay, well that's not terrible. That's not terrible. So you're going down the rope. You're pretty good, and you kind of swing a little bit because you're just not used to doing this. You're kind of bopping around. You're bopping around the sides, very much like the head of your mentor Frederick was bopping around the buildings as you were going down the narrow alleyways as you first entered Potsdam until you got the rhythm of that. But you had time to get that rhythm as you're walking through Potsdam because you're walking for several hundred feet, whereas here it's only 20 and you're going straight down, and so it's a little bit more difficult for you. So you have that moment where you kind of slip, and at the same time as you're slipping, you notice those marks on the side of the well. I mean, this well does smell horrendous, but you can't put your finger on what the hell it is. It's almost like the smell of a mob, like that, just kind of that anger, that it almost smells like tension, or that unmistakable or just undescribable feeling of just like it's it's not pure anger, it's not pure fear, it's just this that almost animal smell, of an enraged or frightened animal. These gouges seem to have been made right in the stone. Like as if they were made by you're not sure if they were made by metal implements or whatever, but they're like 5 or 6 of them in a row, like they're stripes, like almost like they're claw marks, and they look much lighter than the stone. Like the stone is discolored from age,
right?
From being exposed to the elements. But these look, I mean, you're not sure if you're talking hours, days, weeks, but they look relatively new. No, so as you have that moment, like, wow, those look kind of, wah! You slip, and you manage to catch yourself, but after you're like chest deep in freezing cold water.
Ah.
So you haven't actually lost the rope.
Okay. So I'm holding
But
the rope.
it's, you know,
I'm gonna walk up the wall, get myself out of the water, holding the rope. Kind of want to walk up the wall. Ah, Hans.
Yes.
Ah, it's freezing down here. I've hit, I think, the bottom, and it stinks like humanity down here. It stinks like a massive. It's grotesque. There's some scarring in the rock, and I'm gonna reach out with one hand and rub this rock, see if it comes loose or if it's actually scarred into the rock.
It's very hard rock. You know, it's just So
it's not like chalk. It's actually a scar in the rock.
Yeah. This is hard rock, like almost like basalt or something. It's pretty hard rock, but something
was down here.
Scrape the hell of it.
Did it go all the way to the top of the well? The scar.
You can see it's not one solid stripe, but you can see there's kind of like scuff marks here and there and everywhere. You know, as you're looking up, you can kind of see them as though there's just several, and some of them actually cross over each other.
Okay.
So it's as if one like
down here. Something grotesque. I'm gonna. Now, did I hit the bottom? I came into chest deep water, so my feet actually hit the bottom.
No, you caught yourself on the rope. It's possible it could be deeper, and they could maybe be swept to your death underneath some underground frozen stream.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm coming back up, Hans.
Excellent idea, sir. So how are you doing that?
What's that?
How are you doing that?
I'm gonna climb up the rope.
Okay, just make me another roll.
My feet. Okay, 1 to 4 again.
Yeah, 1 to 4. Is anybody helping?
1.
Okay, you managed to get up pretty easily. I'm not easy. Freezing, and it's the 22nd of Monday, the 22nd of December. Okay. It's very cold, and you're wet.
Okay, so my head pops up over the top. I grab the edge, come out, flop down beside Heinrich. I'm gonna have to warm up.
You need to get out of those clothes and get by a fire.
Okay, so I'm gonna hop up and head into the old house and attempt.
Which one is that?
The one we was camped in. I'm gonna try to use that fireplace again to make another fire quickly and get out of my armor and my leather armor and my tunic. What the heck is it? My burlap tunic, and we'll try to get a fire lit.
You're able to do that. That's easy. That's pretty easy. It's cold. You know, you're now naked in the house. Anything resembling clothes that would have been there is long gone. The closest thing you might have is something you can wrap around one of the blankets on the horses, although they look a little bit. Yeah, they're not too happy if you take one of those. It's up to you.
Yeah, Hans, grab me a blanket from one of the horses.
Heinrich, I think we should follow Jürgen.
They were taken. Hans, they were taken.
Who were taken?
My parents were taken.
Who by?
I don't remember, but I saw the marks. My head hurts, Hans.
Come on. I'll put an arm around you and try and get you to your feet as best I can, and let's just focus one thing at a time here. Let's get some blankets from the horses and see if we can stop Jürgen's blood from freezing.
Yes. We must Jürgen.
Yes, for now. We'll solve these things one mystery at a time.
Best camping trip ever.
As a doctor, if I can find a way of clearing your mind, I will.
Please, Herr Doctor. But for now, we help good Jürgen, who takes us to so many good places. Good Jürgen.
So I'll go to where the horses are and take a few blankets.
They don't look terribly happy with you, but there you can't do too much about it at the moment.
No. And
you are wondering like how well they're going to survive out here. there are places you could probably put them as far as like cold stables
Try
and stuff.
Get them somewhere where they're at least fairly warm.
Yeah, you're able to do that. There's another house nearby you can do that, but you are a little concerned like how much how long they're gonna last without food, and also you're kind of wondering like how long you're gonna last on the few pickles and some fortified wine that's left. Biscuits being gone, but
one problem at a time.
Right, of course, and once again, freezing to death and homeless. So
it's a circle that just gets.
But you're able to get in, take care of the horses, get the blankets to Jurgen. You were able to warm up. You're able to dry your clothes off after a few hours and a few awkward moments. Make it in front of your friends.
They are seeing my scarred body, scarred all over my body, and areas where I at some point broke bones and they just healed. Right, skin where I'd been stabbed, cut, whipped, but we don't talk about that.
Agatha?
But they see it.
Oh, good Lord.
We're going to need food for ourselves, for the horses, warmth.
Well, we appear to be safe here for now, unless we go into the well again. I mean, what better? We have shelter. If we have to, we can eat horse meat. We could eat on almost the whole winter on horse meat, right?
Yes, I suppose we can.
Did Heinrich see any places that he would know that winter birds nest coming in here?
Not really. I mean, couple. I mean, they're small. You're talking like really, chickadee size type stuff.
Yeah, not much good.
Nothing that you're gonna like find. I mean, they're definitely these forests look like they would have some deer. They also look like they would have some wolves. Definitely mice. Foxes, that sort of thing. I mean, hares. I mean, there's definitely if you're a real skilled hunter, you can probably feed yourself all.
Of the things you named, Ivan, I think you know the one that he's hunted. And he knows just where to find them, in the cellar.
Yeah, in the cellar.
At this point, I'm so hungry I would eat a rat.
Yeah, I mean, some of the really good bushcraft. Yeah, some of the really good bushcraft skill could probably catch all kinds of things reliably, on what you want.
That is not me.
Nor I. Looks like mice then. Mice or horse? What's for dinner?
We will have to move on eventually then.
So it does take some hours for Jurgen's clothes to dry off and everything. So once again, you're starting to look at like late afternoon, early afternoon. I mean, it's getting dark, but not hideously so.
Well, the good doctor's healthy, right? We know we have unleashed some hell evil upon the world, or we're carrying it in your pocket, right, Herr Hans?
Well, when you put it like that.
So what do we do now? Where are we going?
We can't go back to the town we came from. Not now. Well, maybe we could, but it would be a risk. I don't know if the people who saw you stealing that horse would recognize you.
Well, I'm not taking a chance. That's for sure. We'd have to circumvent that town on our way to Berlin if we did. If we do head that direction.
We couldn't sell the horses there because they'd be recognized.
Back to Potsdam? Is that what you're suggesting?
Oh, that would be worse. I think we have to return to this town, but just be a bit more careful.
Okay.
But we'll have to ditch the horses a few hours outside of town, make our own way.
Agreed.
And just pray to God for forgiveness for whoever's body is now has now been immolated.
Yes. Okay. Do we leave in the morning? Is that the plan?
It wouldn't be wise to leave now.
Agreed.
As long as we never come back. I don't like this place anymore.
Whatever was here is gone. If
Good.
we follow it, maybe the trail will lead back here one day. But for now, it's out in the wild.
We came here to get you well, Herr Doctor, and you are well.
Yes, so in that regard, I believe we have some success.
Yes.
I will go into the cellar and try to scrounge up some food.
Very well.
Rolling pins out.
There is nothing left in this cellar, although there are many other houses in
I will be
the
back.
village.
He's just hunting rats.
Give me a search roll. Give me a search roll. But go ahead and add. What is your search skill?
It is currently sitting at 2.
It's 2. Okay.
Can we take a
add one more.
Can we take a break real quick,
ahead.
guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to take a break.
Want that
Let's do
first
that real quick.
after the break?
Yep.
Cool.
Oh yeah, it'll be like a what do you call it? That tension.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, kids.
To be continued.
Right. Exactly. What could possibly go wrong? And while you guys are waiting, I think you should listen to something. And I don't feel good about just like leaving people with nothing to do for a couple minutes.
It's in the stinky little garage.
You know?
Marvel what year was that? 80.
What will we do for you nice people?
Do you feel like that's going to be one of your legendary tunes when you're doing that? You just don't even know. God, it's weird. We're up there playing Master of Puppets, screaming and moving fast. There's some little kids down in the front.
What will happen to these people? Will they make it? Will they all die? What have they actually unleashed on the world? That kind of makes me wonder. They could have caused a lot of death and destruction. Let's find out what really happened.
Yep. So, here I am by myself, talking to myself. That's chaos there. A little bit above my pay grade, what we're trying to do. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Cat? Cats are always entertaining. Let's bring a cat on here. See? Now people won't click away because there's a kitty. Hello, kitty. Hello, kitty. Hello, kitty. No.
Hey.
I was trying, in case people were going to click away, I brought a cat into the frame. The internet is very much in love with cats.
Show off your cats.
Yes, I have a secret weapon to stave off boredom.
Yes.
I think that the situation that we found, whatever we've unleashed upon the earth, as Ivan was saying, is probably above the pay grade of experienced and competent adventurers. So
Right.
we will leave that to them to at least try.
Yes.
Heinrich's
Well,
Heinrich
we're
just
back, but I didn't want to leave the kids at home with nothing to do, so I figured I'd give them some music or what have you. There you go.
I played with my cats on camera while we were gone. The internet loves that. So
Yeah, the absolute cat videos, cute cat videos are incredibly popular.
if by some stroke of luck that turns out as the screen cap, this video will get the most views probably. So
Absolutely. So here we go. So you're gonna roll now at your search roll. I'm deciding I'm gonna let you have a 3 and 6 chance.
yes, let us see how this goes. That is a 4.
That is a 4. And roll me a 6 to see how good or badly you failed.
3.
3. Okay. So yeah, you're able to go through several homes, several cellars. You do not find anything like as far as edible food. However, I want you to roll me 5d20.
Oh, cool. 5d20. Well,
5d20.
let's see. Let me scrounge up 5 of these little suckers here. I've got a lot of little suckers here. Alrighty. In my hand are 5d20s.
Let's go.
Okay. Am I adding up the results or just reading them off one by one?
Yeah.
All right.
Add them up. This is where we see if math, high school math really paid off. High school?
19, 24. That is 35, sir.
That is how many silver pieces you find, strewn around these houses.
Woohoo!
But you find no food and you can't eat silver.
Oh. But I am rich.
As you're going through there, you find like amongst some of the bodies and in some of the cellars, the little jars and whatnot, you find about 35 silver pieces.
How edible do the bones look?
Most of them look like they may have been gnawed on by some woodland creatures at some point in time, but not terribly edible. But
no bone soup.
No.
I see. We may have to go hungry tonight, my companions. Luckily, we will be able to afford some food when next we come to a village or town. Look at all this fine silver. Let's show it off. This is mine, of course. I have found it.
Good.
But
we will need that. I
will share.
Just need to remember, drinks are on you then, Heinrich.
I will treat my friends. We have been through many ordeals together, especially me.
Yes.
Especially me. That's great. So, are you guys doing anything else this evening?
I'm gonna curl up and sleep, I think.
Yeah, same, I think.
This will be the first night in days in which we haven't been dragging around the doctor and worried about his dying. So I'll probably try to sleep peacefully.
Right.
Heinrich,
that night you all sleep well. Oh, go ahead.
He clutches his crucifix and tries to stave off the bad dreams.
Well, everybody, give me a save against magic. All 3 of you.
18.
Natural
17.
Really? Oh, you all save very well. Okay. Nobody has any sort of thing happen to them over the night. So you all sleep relatively well.
Right.
The morning you wake up, you're hungry. The horses look a little more miserable than they did before. These are some sway back glue factory horses, They just they're used to life of luxury and pulling a hearse every once in a while, and probably giving pony rides to the grandchildren of the deceased. Right. So that's
Heinrich, did you see any saddles as you moved around this village, searching?
Did I?
I don't know. Why don't you why don't you tell me? Give me a regular search roll here.
Yes. I will try to recall in my memory. That is a 3. Then you need 2 or less.
No, you sure didn't. There are no saddles.
So
No.
that means we have to ride these poor horses bareback. Are there any markings on these horses?
No.
Okay. All right. So I suppose we mount up, ride back toward the village, and leave them. We agreed we wanted to leave them about an hour outside. Is that right?
So like that, just so we can walk
Right.
the way, and
That sounds good to me.
Okay. You're able to ride. Takes a good part of the day to actually ride back. Not as long as it did with the carriage. There's no traffic on the road at all. As you get closer, you see there's parts of the woods adjacent, like on the left side of the woods from the road itself, where you see something's kind of amiss, and then you realize there's gaps in the tree line. I mean, it's It's their denuded leaves being winter, except some of the conifers are there. And then you realize there's whole areas where like the trees are just flattened.
Freshly flattened.
It might be freshly flattened. It certainly didn't look like that before.
Oh.
And it becomes more and more prevalent to see things like that the closer you get to the village.
Okay.
At about the hour mark, where you're planning to lead these horses to starve to death in the cold winter.
To run free in the wilderness.
Run free in the wilderness. You're at that point, once again, you see like another like small like copse of trees, or like probably like 10 trees like in an area that have just kind of been flattened entirely, like pushed over.
I'm gonna walk over to that area and look and see, kind of investigate. Does it look like it was blown over?
Some of them look like they were just broken. Some of them about 6 feet up on the trunk. Some closer. Some look like they've actually been uprooted. Some of them look like they've been broken more like 10 or 15 or 20 feet up the trunk. But for the most part, like just in an area, all the trees are kind of pushed over.
Wow. Okay. No sign of like animals, like a stampede, a herd came through, or?
Well, give me a good old bushcraft roll there. As many as you want to, or you're just gonna by yourself.
6. This is the best 6 I've never had a die like this.
I'm curious. I got a 5.
Heinrich has no inclination to go anywhere near that mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the armies came this way.
Yeah, it's hard. Looks like a lot of the snow in that area has been disturbed as well, like a lot. But you can't, it's not like stampede. It's just you're not really sure. Could have been 1,000 people running around.
But so there are boot tracks then in the snow?
No, it's disturbed quite a bit.
Okay. Wow.
But you couldn't
This was
imagine
not here when we left. Hans, you were delusional and in the back, but this had not been this way when we left a couple of days ago. This is new.
Are any of those gouge marks anywhere that you saw in the well?
I did not see any. No.
Well, go ahead. Give me a roll. Give me a D6 roll. Don't even give me success failure. Just tell me what you see. 4. Okay, you can actually some of the trees, as you take another look, especially some of the conifers where the bark is really dark and obvious. You can see in one spot there's seems like there's a rake of 3 or 4 lines that go down maybe like about 2 feet long.
Okay. I walk over and put my fingers on it. Heinrich. This is what was in the well. Heinrich, you've seen this.
Oh Lord, it's bad.
It's okay, Heinrich. It's okay. So this thing is headed back toward the city.
Yes.
Let us not ever go there again.
But I like the city. It's where things are.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
That could be the doctor's motto right there. I like the city. I'm sorry, Jeff Helps. I didn't mean to break the immersion, but that could be the doctor's motto. I like the city. Me too. I like that too. Go on.
How old does this look? Did it happen like in the last 24 hours? 12 hours?
That's really hard to tell. That's hard to tell. I mean, you're just not a woodsman. No.
But it wasn't here when we left, which was 2 days ago?
Yeah, you don't remember seeing you've seen this enough, and it's that it's like, it's not weird. It's not kind of look weird. Like you kind of get the thought like I would have noticed that. I would have noticed that coming down. Then again, you're running for your lives from or just running.
Right.
But you're like, you're thinking to yourself, I would have seen that at least once.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we have to go. We can't allow this beast to destroy the city.
No.
We have to keep heading toward Edinburgh? Edinburgh?
Hold on, Jürgen.
Edinburgh?
How are we going to stop this thing from killing everybody? Clearly it is quite capable of killing the trees.
Yes. I know, Heinrich, but then where are we going? You just want to go back to that well?
Well, Jürgen, a tree almost killed me. So anything that can kill a tree could kill me. That much easier. Don't
You have a fantastic grasp of logic.
I like to think so.
Then we must abandon this quest. We were headed to this town.
No, we
Well,
were
look-
headed to Berlin, were we not?
We
Well,
have
yes,
to go
but I mean, we have to
through-
go to this town first.
Yes.
All right. Then we trudge on. But if this beast is there, I will fight. I will fight to save these people.
We need food. We need supplies. We'd have to go through this town, one way or another.
Yes. Then let's do it. I'm going to almost trot the remainder of the way back. Not a forced march, but almost a soft jog back. I'm in kind of a hurry.
Yeah. All right. I mean, as you go,
I'm a bit responsible for this.
as you get closer and closer, you start to smell a little bit of smoke, and you can kind of see. I mean, that's not unusual from But at one point, you can see some that looks just a little bit bigger, a little bit blacker than it should be, as as if a house was on fire, building might be on fire.
Okay. Do we hear
and-
bells as if there's somebody fighting the fire?
No.
Like a fire bell or a fire line or anything going?
No.
You know, bucket line? No?
Nope.
So, how far out are we from this?
Oh, at this point now, you're probably about, gosh, like maybe like mile, something like that, where you can see the outskirts
Okay.
of the town. There's the kind of little city wall, that sort of thing. You're hearing that crunch of your feet in the snow.
We're not hearing screaming and wailing and
No,
as
you're
we
not hearing
approach?
any, you're not hearing anything. It's almost like just too quiet.
okay.
And
I'm gonna
You're
stop and I'm gonna load my crossbow, my heavy crossbow, and I'm gonna kind of pick up my pace as I head to town.
Seeing that, I'll draw the short sword that you gave me. Like, I don't think to any real effect, but it's like, oh, there could be trouble. And I draw the sword, like, nervously.
Heinrich, do you take any special action at this moment?
I'm clutching the cross in one hand and the rolling pin in the other. And I'm trying to look as small and inconspicuous as a man of his obvious stature can. And just creeping along. And he says, Jürgen, if we don't find any people, can we leave quickly?
So the
Yes.
smallest looking water buffalo is trotting along beside you.
Heinrich, if there is no beast here, we will do our due and get out. But
Yeah.
I warn you, I'm afraid it may not be the beast. I'm afraid it may be Catholics or Protestants.
Well,
This
if
may be
If it is
the
Catholics, then we
war.
are in good hands.
Maybe the Swedes have decided to
Yes.
take their fill of the town.
This may not be a beast at all. This may be man's doing.
Mans?
Man is in your fellow creatures, Heinrich.
The war?
The war.
And we're soldiers here. Maybe we should not go.
Oh no. We have to see if this beast is loose. I have to see if this beast is loose. You do not have to. I'll stop dead and turn around and stop Heinrich. Heinrich, you do not have to go.
No, I feel I will go where Jürgen goes, but there is something about this that I do not like.
Neither do I. And then I'll get back into a full run closer to town.
Okay, you're probably about a quarter mile to town when you see the first splash of color on the snow up in front of you, and as you get closer and closer, unmistakably it's a body.
Okay.
And
I'll slow
then they
down
become,
and look at it.
and it's a body it's somebody that was obviously once human. It has been just you're not sure what could have done. I mean, you've seen people get crushed before by wagons, And so you've seen some pretty horrific crushing injuries, and that's probably the closest you can get. Is it just, you know, doesn't look that much different than a man buried by, you know, an incredible amount of rubble, or like, you know.
Herr Hans, what do you think did that to this man or this woman?
I'll run over, kneel down, stick my sword in the snow.
And I'm going to keep my crossbow pointed between Hans and the city while he investigates.
Yeah, have as thorough I can an investigation of this body.
Yeah, you've never seen something quite like this, but it's obvious. I mean, you've seen a wagon wheel run over a mouse and seen what the mouse looks like, and that's pretty much what it looks like. It's just like an incredible amount of weight.
This person was crushed. That's the only way I can describe it. Like a boot on an insect.
Not like a hearse.
Hearse or a carriage. I'll kind of look to see if there's ruts or anything like that would indicate it was a carriage accident.
No, not even close.
Good. So we did not run this poor individual over. Evacuating. Do we hear screams? Do we hear any noise now as we're closing in on
don't
town?
hear any noise whatsoever.
Is the body face down or face up?
Face down.
Face down. I don't know if it would be worth trying to communicate with this thing either. It probably didn't see what did this.
I think it would be. I mean, before we get where we can't turn around, it might be wise to try.
Well, let me see.
Does it have enough of a head left to?
That's my question here right now. As you turn this body over, you do need a head. That's kind of the that's kind of what you really need, you know. So let's see. You do need a head, even if it's merely a skull, you know, the head of the person. Yeah. So it must be intact and present, even if it's a skull. And this is certainly not intact. This is squished as you roll it over. It's just flattened out to the size of like a large pumpkin. So not that size, but just that's, and so it's kind of this caricature of like our face for use or what thing.
I'll kind of look at it and I won't touch anything. I'll say I don't really hear the whispers of the dead here. I don't think there's enough to engage with. This poor soul has had their head mashed like a ripe turnip.
Yes, I see. Then on toward the city. At least there's no screams and no cries. We'll have the city to ourselves. Worst case scenario.
I think we're out of the frying pan and into the fire, to use a glib idiom.
Okay, so I'll stop running and turn around and face the doctor. Then what do you suggest? We are here.
Well, yes. I mean,
yes.
Our path lies in that direction, or freezing to death out here. Let's see what we can do.
Okay. So I'll again almost full speed. I'll be running toward town.
Okay. And Heinrich, were you saying something?
Oh, I have a very bad feeling. This reminds me of something, but I don't know what. I'm following.
I'll look at the squished corpse, but refrain from saying anything sarcastic at that point.
So as you get closer and closer to town, you start to see more corpses strewn about. Not all crushed. Some appear to have been ripped in half. Some appear to have been almost like bitten, but by what you're not sure. Some are in several pieces strewn all about. You see a few horse corpses, but mostly human corpses. You start to see debris, like debris of carriages. As you get closer to the town itself, you can see a few fires, obvious fires like house fires. You see a lot of houses that have entire walls missing, and some houses that seems to have been pushed over. you're not really able to, and once you're actually in the town proper, just the corpses are everywhere. And some flattened, some ripped to shreds. You can see like almost a straight line of destruction right towards the church itself.
Okay.
There's not one stone of that church standing on top of another one.
Oh,
It ripped out, ripped across. But as you go through, it's eerie. It's silent, almost as silent as it was in that village. But it's just kind of the silence of snow. It's the silence of the winter. A few animal sounds here and there. You realize now that there are some birds circling above. Some of the winter birds, some of the buzzards or whatever passes for those in this area of the world, have figured out that there's the ravens, the crows have figured out there's going to be a feast. But it's surreal as you kind of walk through there. There's no sound. There's no sounds of struggle. There's nothing, but it's the destruction and the carnage are like nothing you've ever actually seen. And you see Swedish soldiers, you see men that have obviously fired their weapons. It looks like some men were trying to make some sort of stand, and then their bodies are strewn. I mean, they're all there with their weapons and everything, but it looks like they were just strewn about like some child playing with pickup sticks at some point.
Jurgen at this point is visibly weeping, and I go to a knee and bow my head and lay my crossbow on the ground, and I just sob and whisper to myself, not discernible to any of my comrades. What have we done? What have we done? I'm gonna stand up, wipe my face, take my crossbow. Is there a well in this town? Does anybody know? Have you seen a well?
Maybe towards the center of town.
I will not leave this town without checking the well, just in case this beast resides in these wells.
Which is a big town. It may have several.
Find me one. I just want to find one.
Just follow the destruction. This thing came through like a maelstrom.
Yeah. So we'll follow where this destruction leads, and if I see any wells along the path, I'm going to investigate.
Before we leave this area, are those firearms still intact? Do they look like?
Some of them are, yeah. Yeah, some of them beat up to crap, but I can tell you at this exact moment, anything that's on the equipment list is probably somewhere in this town.
Yeah.
I mean, like in terms of, there's good news and bad news. The bad news appears to be that like something has systematically killed and destroyed everything in this town. The good news is you can probably, if you search long enough, find just about anything that would have been in this town.
So horses, 3 horses saddled.
With enough time, you could probably find a horse. You're not 100% sure.
Okay.
But it appears to be. It appears to be. As you're walking through, looking at this just area of destruction, you can see a couple spots where, like, yeah, there's a horse left standing.
Okay. So I
not a particularly happy horse.
I suggest we take our time to get horses, saddles, and food. For sure.
Yeah. I'm picking up one of these rifles. Even if it has no ammunition or powder, it would probably make a pretty formidable wacky stick. So,
oh, it sure does. It sure does. And you can find powder and shot. You could actually find yourself a pretty nice officer's musket. There's a pistol.
Has Heinrich ever gone hunting with? Did he ever go hunting with his father? I wonder, before his father passed away. How common would that only be? Like a military piece of equipment, or at this point in time, would firearms be fairly?
Your character, your backstory, man. If you went hunting with your dad, you went hunting with your dad.
It seems like he said he'd never been camping, so, but he has gone climbing for bird eggs, so he might have shot at a bird a time or two.
Right. Yeah. I don't.
I'm gonna say maybe the rifle a little bit, but probably not the pistol. That's what I'm probably going to say.
I'll grab up a pistol and some shot. I imagine it was very fashionable at university in Bremen to play with newfangled firearms, so I will acquire pistol, shot, a set of disciples and things like apostles. Sorry, not disciples.
Right. Yeah. No. There's definitely you find the body was obviously a captain or a lieutenant. The insignias on his uniform seem to suggest that. His legs and his head really don't, because you can't find those. But you can find a very nice saber, if you want it. But he's got quite the pistol, the set of apostles, and just very nice.
So Jurgen watches his companions, looks at his crossbow, and newfangled science. And so now we pilfer the bodies of the dead, do we, gentlemen?
Now's not the time for pride, Jurgen. If we're to survive against that creature, we're going to have to not only arm ourselves, but prepare ourselves for winter.
Yeah.
You hear a whinny behind you, and you realize the two horses you left to die have made their way to town and are hungrily eating like oats and hay that have been strewn about by whatever.
Oh, good. So there's something good to have come from this. These horses will survive.
Yeah.
Fine. Pilfer the dead. Pilfer the victims of our folly. Go.
As you're walking towards the what seems to be maybe the epicenter of the destruction, you can see that the church, like I said, has just been absolutely demolished.
But that's almost the focus of the thing, which would make sense if those crosses are anything to go by.
Mm-hmm.
I did pick up the saber, by the way. Yeah, I didn't see the doctor make any.
Right on.
No, the saber.
Heinrich is horrified beyond his normal habits, and he probably realizes the rolling pin would be a little less effective than an actual weapon. So he's very clumsily holding the sword now.
There isn't. You can't really see anything discernible on your way to the church, but afterwards, after you've kind of gone past it, you're still surveying the destruction, and there is destruction everywhere. You can see one obvious well.
Okay, so I will head directly toward it.
No.
Straight to it, and when I get to the edge, I'll look over, see if I can smell that stench.
Peering down, you just smell that kind of cold winter water smell. You don't see any scraping or scratches on the inside of this well.
Is it as big as the one that was in? As big a well as the one that was in? It is. Okay.
Excuse me a moment.
Yep.
Will he climb down the well?
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I probably will, but not before I drop a silver piece in there or stone. See if I hear anything.
You hear the plunk of a stone in water. Oh my God.
This thing's gonna kill me. I need to.
So it's too good a moment not to get my LARP flintlock.
Ah, all right.
There you go.
Hot dog, man. Love it.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice.
Now we're playing with props.
There you
Outstanding.
Yeah, the rock, goes straight down. You can almost swear you can see it hit the water.
Okay. I don't think he's in this well. Should I check, gentlemen? Should I go down?
I'd rather check out this church. I think that was where it wanted to be.
Okay. Then I will follow you to the church first.
As I am walking, I will be putting in powder, shot, sort of getting it down, checking the trap, making sure it's all about.
Right, and they're able to get that all set up. And so, Jurgen, what exactly are you doing right now?
I'm following the doctor to the church.
Right. What's left of the church?
Yeah, right. To the foundations of the church.
The foundations of the church. Right. And you're able to you go around there. I mean, you see bodies. You see like tattered bits of books. You can see couple things you swear you recognize. You swear you all of a sudden you get this like incredible stench of frankincense that Dr. retches for a moment. And you realize you know there's some and all of a sudden you hear a laugh behind you, like a little high pitched laugh.
Well, I'll spin to face it for sure.
As the three of you spin, you can see like a little girl in a nightgown just kind of run from one building to the other, sort of laughing, carrying a doll. And she looks at you as she's right before she goes to the other building and smiles.
Are you still lonely?
Gentlemen, it's time for redemption.
Yeah. That is our adversary, gentlemen. A little girl with a doll.
What could go wrong?
Well, what could go wrong, people? But I think we're going to call it here and wonder what in the world happens next time. What destroyed the city? Was it our hero's fault? Or was it just coincidence? You be the judge.